In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh yeah, Panther fans. It's draft week. That is right. The time that you have spent in mock drafting, the time you have spent evaluating men in underwear has come to fruition, where Cody Lashney will likely be validated in much of his opinions. And if he's not, who cares? It's all speculation anyway. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast. It's Tuesday night, 9 p.m. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at cat_chronicles. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast, and thanks for all your support on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. My man, Cody Lashney, I know you are just jumping out of that seat right now with anticipation for Thursday night.
The draft draws near, man. I love this time of year. I always get so excited. Hope springs eternal for the Carolina Panthers and the prospects of what might be and what players we might be cheering for years to come. I love it, man. I live for this time of year, especially now that there's nothing going on. How can you not be hype about the draft? And I know some people who are hype about the draft. It's the people in the most lit Panther chat room in all of YouTube. And we're joined by all the greats: Sarah Taylor, Underground West, Richard's Outdoor World, Demetrius Miller, Ben S., Legacy Lynn, Joey Esquivel, Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number is 252-228-5098. We want you to be part of the longest running Panthers podcast out there. Go ahead and call in. We'll get your call on the cat calls tonight. We've also got the regulars in the house. Greg, how you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, Tony. It's Tuesday night. I wake up every Tuesday morning looking forward to this night. Get to talk to all the fans, get to talk to my homeboys, get to talk Panthers football. Can't beat it. Let's do it.
Can't wait for your stats tonight. And we got CK. Look, CK, there's a pretty lethal C3 Warzone squad out there from what I heard.
Yeah, there
is Greg coming in, jumping down from the cliff, clacking to the wind. Holy cow. Old guys play video games too, don't they?
We do. They do. And we wreck people.
That's right.
People.
I got to credit that kill to CK, though. I came down from the cliff, and I think I distracted him, hit him a couple times. I think CK got that final kill, though.
Well, I tell you what, we got the win. We got the win, and I'm terrible.
Right. I'm with you, man.
All right, CK's streaming some video games on Twitch. Make sure you check him out. You can follow him at Codizzle_Allen, correct?
You got it.
All right, let's jump into the Panthers talk tonight. It is the eve of the draft. Rumors abound. I even pulled up NFL.com, Cody, and it said Redskins fielding calls for the number 2 pick. Detroit has been putting it out there that they are interested in trading back. And then you have the Dolphins rumored to trade up for an offensive tackle. It's bound to be wild, and nothing is as it appears.
It's mad, and it's lying season too. You don't know who's telling the truth. You don't know who's telling stories. I find it very hard to believe that Miami is looking to move up for a tackle. I don't think that there's any guarantee they'll be in the running for Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields next year. Yeah, the draft starts at number 2. We all know Joe Burrow's going number 1. That's written in stone, tattooed on your ass. We all know at number 2, that's when it gets real. You don't know if Washington believes in Dwayne Haskins to be their future. It's hard to believe that both the Detroit Lions and the Giants don't want to move back and probably draft the same player that they have rated number 1 on their board. There's a lot going on, and there are reports that the Panthers have done a lot of due diligence on Jordan Love, the quarterback from Utah. We know that Marty Herney was at the pro day for Justin Herbert. They've interviewed. So I don't know. Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty around what the Panthers will do at number 7. And it's anyone's anyone's guess up to this point.
What is your guess via Draft Tech? You are the resident Panther mock drafter or draft generator, as well as a little Houston, I believe, right?
Yeah, right for Houston also.
So tell me this: who's your pick? Who is your pick?
So, if I'm having to put money down right now, as much as it pains me to say, I think it's probably either a wide receiver, and I know we have not mentioned that often, but if you look at Joe Brady and Teddy Bridgewater and all the offensive firepower that has now been added to the NFC South all around us, I wouldn't doubt it if they want another dynamic offensive weapon to put on the football team. I had this drafting Jerry Jeudy, the receiver from Alabama, and I have heard
news surrounding
reports
about potential concerns with a knee, I believe.
Yeah, and which is kind of weird because they were saying that it was an unreported injury, but it was reported. I saw the Alabama article about it at the time 2 years ago. So I don't know what that's all about. But another real possibility is C.J. Henderson, the cornerback from Florida. Apparently, a bunch of teams have him with a higher grade than they do Jeffrey Okudah. Now, I think that is madness, but that's just what's being reported online.
If either of those routes are our selection, I may have a literal brain aneurysm on our draft show. It is irresponsible for the Panthers to go out and spend that kind of capital on a player that will not help you in the no. When you have zero defense, you have zero defense. If it's not a defensive player, it better be a quarterback that is drafted. I want to give a big shout out to Underground West with a $10 contribution to the show. Thank you very much for your support. Now, when it comes to that, Cody, can it really be? Could C.J. Henderson? I heard, Charlie Casserole. That's what I call him. Charlie Casserole talking about how many people believe that if you play a defense in off coverage, he is a better option. What kind of analysis is that? Seriously, a guy that's better off, but that means that he can't play on.
And by the way, it's not. It's so stupid. I mean, I have watched a ton of film of Jeffrey Okudah. He's perfect in man coverage, zone coverage. I mean, deep
in the run game.
Yeah, I mean, the guy does it all. His instincts are second to none. C.J. Henderson might be a better athlete, but it's absolutely absurd to me. And apparently, a few teams are thinking this way. A few teams have their board that way. So that is absolutely absurd, in my opinion. And I would be pretty furious if we didn't trade down. Now, I don't want people to think that I think C.J. Henderson is a bad player. He is a very good player at a position of need for us right now. But when you have a top 10 pick, you're talking about a different tier of player. Yep. And he C.J. Henderson is not in that tier.
Or maybe not at this moment, right? That's the other thing, is I think top 10 means today ready is another way of thinking it. CK,
right.
On Thursday night, if the Panthers go and draft a wide receiver in the first, what is your reaction?
One of sheer disappointment, if you ask me. I think there's way more holes than in every other position outside of wide receiver. I feel like for the first time, I'm actually pretty comfortable with what we have at wide receiver. I know we don't have necessarily that big body receiver, but I mean, let's be honest, we haven't been lucky with those. So I think right now what we have is what we need. And to put that type of draft capital into a wide receiver is asinine. Yeah, I'm with you. I think I immediately have a brain aneurysm if something like that were to take place.
I'm going to be really disheartened if the new football regime is so in on the new millennium NFL of we got to put up 50, and that's what they are really hoping to create. I'm going to be disheartened by that because I think it's an overreaction. I think you have to win. I think you have to have a well-rounded team. I tell you one thing, Greg, is that Cody surprised me there when he talked about wide receiver. Not as much surprised when it comes to CJ Henderson. I thought I was going to be disappointed if we drafted that guy Brown at 7. Now Brown sounds like a damn gold mine to me compared to those other alternatives. Where are you at on the Panthers in the first round? And I hope you bring up our man, Tua, can't pronounce your last name, Lagavola.
You know I'm going to bring him up, but I do want to ask, when we're talking about, you said Okuda, I think that's what you're talking about, being a non-coverage player type deal.
No, they were saying this. They were saying that CJ Henderson is appealing to defensive coordinators who like to play an off coverage, i.e. Ron Rivera. Right? I mean, that's what that means right there, is that's exactly what Ron Rivera would do, is draft CJ Henderson over Okuda.
Yeah.
Y'all check out my hot wife.
Well, hello. Welcome to the podcast. Who do you want the Panthers to take in the first round?
Who do you want the Panthers to take in the first round, you ask? Say Simmons.
Say Tua.
Whatever he says.
Simmons. All right. So here we go. Greg, I thought I would be disheartened if we. What's his name, Cody? By the way, Brown. I want to say Everett Brown, but that was a former Panther, Everett Brown.
Derek Brown. And by the way, I do just want to say he fits a very big. Derek Brown fits a huge position of need for us. I mean, listen, our run defense was terrible. Again, it goes back to that conversation of if you're drafting in the top 10. You want to foresee that player putting on a gold jacket at the end of their career. Yep. And Derek Brown is, in my opinion, he's a nose tackle.
Everett Brown or Derek Brown?
Derek Brown.
Everett Brown is the former Carolina Panthers bust, who is a Marty Herney.
I said Derek earlier. I said Eric.
Yeah, you're right.
Derek Brown is a physical player. He'd be the anchor of our defensive line that would kind of fill that Star Lotulelei role. But, outside of that, I don't think that you draft that kind of player in the top 10.
This is why I like it, though, is that here's the thing, is that if we draft a defensive lineman at 7 or an offensive tackle, by nature, you can only, not a defensive lineman, a defensive tackle or an offensive lineman. You can only by nature be so excited in that moment because it's one of the things where their contribution comes in ways that you don't see it, right? I mean, you just don't see it. When do we start talking about the weaknesses at defensive tackle? When teams run all over your ass. When do we start talking about offensive linemen? When teams are getting all over your quarterback's ass. So really, what we probably would best be suited is having a pick where we're like, we hope this guy is freaking awesome. And then, but if we get a pick, if a pick comes in, it's a wide receiver, oh my gosh. I just think Cincinnati Bengals, John Ross, when they went after that, I think the Panthers would be irresponsible to pass on Simmons, to pass on Brown, to pass on, there's probably 3 more defensive players, Okuda. It would be irresponsible at this point. But stranger things have happened.
Well, I think that would be the writing on the wall for Curtis Samuel, wouldn't it? At that point,
they drafted a receiver.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I think if they draft a receiver in the second round, it's the writing on the wall for Curtis Samuel.
I don't know.
Let me ask you this: if I know you said that you wouldn't take Derek Brown top 10, in the event that we trade back, which I know is a popular thing to hear, but with the talk about how horrible the actual mock draft went for the NFL when they did their test run beforehand.
It was a shit show.
I'm not sure there's going to be much trading going on. So, I'm not sure that these GMs are going to have the capability of actually getting that working the way that they want it to.
I mean, we're hearing that there's a bunch of teams that are already looking to move. So, I mean, who knows what will end up happening?
I am looking. I'm telling you right now, and it may feel like it might be boring, but I am telling you, it is going to be hilarious. I think this is going to be the best draft that we'll ever see.
Tony and I were talking about this. Deep down, we're kind of hoping for a shit show because it validates this show and what we do every Tuesday night for you people out there.
You guys know they're about to have like a 3-minute delay all the way around. They're like, we are not risking anything. There's going to be a 3-minute delay. We're not going to have somebody accidentally be off of mute and then talk about how they want to, they're going to try to screw over Bill Belichick or something like that.
But why? I think that based on what's going on, if they're going to mess up, let them mess up.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, trust me, I agree.
Sorry,
the NFL doesn't want that.
Yeah, well, I get Goodell doesn't want that, but we are in a day and age where if you cannot have pay somebody to come in there and set up your shit technically right to do this draft.
I do want to talk about this.
Then you should pay the penalty.
This is a big missed opportunity. Ron Rivera would say this is a missed opportunity for YouTube or Streamlabs to partner with the NFL and to run the shit for them. That's what I would have done if I was Streamlabs VP. And I would then demand that the NFL lean on ESPN and get all of their cameras from football season and baseball that is not occurring right now.
I bet you they rent those things out every year. I bet you they don't own them. I bet you they rent them.
So you're saying ESPN doesn't have the cameras right now? What I would say is this, is the idea that we have to watch television today. Like I bet my wife is watching the morning shows while we're at home, and these cats are literally like displaying from their iPad.
Yeah, what we're doing right now.
Yeah, but we're doing even better than that because at least I got a camera. People giving us shit about our quality for years, and I understand it sucked. But the thing is like I watch reporters around the country, like local reporters, go out and set up their own computer thing, their mics, live broadcast. Why is it this hard?
Behind them naked. Yeah.
Is that and I swear I guarantee you from what I've seen, from what the NFL has been putting out there, if they don't get these guys a Yeti mic at the very minimum, I am pissed. Like what in the hell? All right.
Well, you saw what you saw what they had over at San Francisco. I think these guys are going to be more prepared than we realize, but I think that it is going to be hilarious how the GMs like Marty Herney who are going to have to be by themselves, right? Because there is no, I mean, they're probably going to be able to Zoom with their draft, or I guess their staff and whatnot, but these guys are in a living room most likely by themselves. Am I wrong?
I think this is silly. I think this is silly. Right. Why can they not be social distanced? What I would request, I saw the Lions. I saw the Lions. It's like their assistant GM is going to stay in the GM's driveway in a Winnebago throughout the whole time that they're drafting. Yeah. So if there's any technical difficulties, they can just open the window and yell at each other. Why can you not do that? Why could you not set up a socially distanced, safe war room?
I don't know, but all the stories that have so far come out have been absolutely hilarious. Len even mentioned it in the chat that when they did the mock draft, the Bengals didn't even get their pick in. And we're talking about the number one pick because they were having so many technical difficulties. Apparently, one of the team's GMs, I think it was one of the teams in the top 10, his wife or son had gotten onto the Wi-Fi while he was doing the draft, and it was taken away from his bandwidth. He had to go and yell and stop his family from using the internet. Dude, I have no idea what's going to happen Thursday night. but it's going to be a mess. I also wanted to say I'm worried for the Panthers because I have a feeling that Marty Hurney has an old 1997 Compact Pro laptop that he barely, with the little red microphone button right in the middle. And I have no idea how he's getting our pick in on time because I don't think that dude knows what to do with a computer.
I do want to give a big shout out to Panthers C3 podcast founder Joe Riolano in the house. Joe, nice to see you in the chat room, as well as Joan in the chat room with Lynn, representing the girl gang on draft week. Now, when it comes to, I really hope that we can find a way in this age with the people of these salaries. And I feel like at work, I'm expected to do a lot of things that are just not in my job thing, but like my, job description, but just be familiar. Like if you can't be, you work at a university and be like, I don't understand how email works. Right. So the idea that this is so daunting for us to, for this $1 trillion organization, the NFL, and these teams to figure out is a little surprising to me.
Well, what's the most surprising to me is that the fact that the NFL, because they can't have these players here, they're sending them welcome packets. And the welcome packets, they send it to, I think, 59 players that they thought were going to be drafted in the first 2 rounds.
Interesting.
And the welcome packets have instructions like you can only wear Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and whatever else the other sports. You can't have Den and yogurt. You can't have anything but a Pepsi product. Like they're sending them regulations and all the stuff they need to do these. So like they're sending them, you can only have, if you're going to wear headphones for the draft, you can only wear Bose headphones. So if you don't have a pair, the NFL is going to send you a pair so that way they can keep up their apparel and their sponsors. And for me, that's the most interesting part because you have people in their homes and they're going to have to adjust everything they have in their homes to not have product placement in the wrong spot, to not advertise for Coke or Reebok or people that aren't sponsored.
Which I find that to be absurd. I understand the importance of business partnerships and sponsorships and how integral they are to these institutions. But I think inadvertent references should not count towards these sponsorship agreements. So if what if the cat was wearing, that's like saying you can't wear Hanes underwear if your Hanes underwear is showing because your pants are hanging too low, that it's a sponsorship infringement. I think that they go too far, the NFL, when it comes to what they do with the cleats and different things like that, which then causes people to act absurd about it in protest. Guys, I want to turn this intention. I saw it in the chat room. Somebody mentioned the picture of Dave Gettleman in the war room with the lotion bottle at the so he's at the computer desk, and somebody said somebody I saw in the Twitter feed was knocking it, and someone said, where else do you keep the lotion at? Like that was there.
On the nightstand.
It was on the right side too.
But
it was a right-hander.
Billy Bean, right? Brandon Bean.
Brandon Bean for the Bills.
Yes, Brandon Bean recently mentioned that he was on First Take, and he said that Dave Gettleman is a smart guy, and that picture was staged to make him look like a dunce, for people to underestimate him.
I don't know if I believe all that. I think he's an old school New Yorker type who barely even uses computers anyway. Dude, I believe it. Did you see the size of the binder? Like, what is in that binder? Why is that thing so damn big? And why is it right in front of you and your laptop? Like, it just makes no sense. But by the way, when you look
that's what they're saying, that it's all part of his act.
So by the way, if you look at how other teams are setting up, they have multiple monitors for film, all this other stuff, and then Gettleman has this tiny little laptop and a giant binder in front of him. But that, hey, we don't know what Marty Herney's setup looks like. Have y'all seen anything from his setup? I haven't. So I don't know. Maybe we couldn't cast stones.
CK, what is the Panthers media putting out these days?
I mean, not much, man. They're just they're talking about the stories of the players that were drafted, like how they talked about Steve Smith's path to the draft. They talked about Brian Burns. They've talked about Jonathan Stewart. They're not really
a lot of focus on Christian McCaffrey now with the contract.
On Christian McCaffrey, they have done the quality of reporting is not very high right now. Right now, it's all kind of just clickbait. Or not even that. I would say it's kind of fluff.
No, it's like feel good. It actually is not a lot of stuff, to be honest. There's not even a lot of quantity. It's just kind of feel good stuff. To be
fair, right now I think they're trying to ease the new reporters in. They got two. I mean, you got to think it's what is it, a 33 or 66% turnover rate right now. So they had 66% of their entire reporting room, which I think was Bill Voth, Max Simpson, and Caroline Can, right? Those are the only three. Maybe a couple of writers outside of that, but two of the main people that were there are gone. So I think right now to expect them to be just throwing things out would probably be premature. But
I saw Max Henson is, what his Twitter profile says now is that he does social media for Lowe's.
Oh,
yeah. Like, so is that a job upgrade by going to Lowe's? Right. And which I'm not a knock on that, but I wonder if that's a reflection of what the heck is going on Main Street. Right?
I wonder. Well, yeah, they just put a new Lowe's headquarters here in Charlotte.
Really?
So he might still be here in Charlotte.
Yeah. No, I think he is. So, and what I did want to bring up was the stories with Christian McCaffrey. We know that the details, the details of his contract have come out, making him, not only did we already know, the highest paid running back in the league, but with some really impressive guaranteed money. We were calculating it before the show, guys. Fully guaranteed when he puts the pen to the paper was $30 million. But if he is still on the roster in 2021, he gets an additional $8 million bonus on top of his $4.2 million salary that they prorated salary or whatever for that year. So that's effectively another $12 million for Christian McCaffrey is going to make in 2020 and 2021 $42 million. Is
that it?
Good answer.
That's pretty incredible. But Cody, I bring up that contract, not whether we talked last night about, really, I don't think the guaranteed money is going to change our opinions on, the ramifications of signing Christian McCaffrey to that deal. But the interesting news you were referencing before the podcast was mentions of Christian McCaffrey, how happy he was here to be here. And what else did he say?
That he wanted to end his career as a Carolina Panther
without missing any time, though. That's what he said. Yeah. That's the thing.
You meant the tweet from Jordan Rodriguez. So he basically said he was happy that he wouldn't have to miss any time. So yeah, he was going to probably going to hold out if he didn't get the contract. But it appeared that both sides knew that and both sides didn't care because they were going to do this deal. So we got our guy, man. I mean, the part that makes me hesitant is just because of the position. But hey, man, I love CMC. He's the biggest superstar on our team right now, bar none, especially when you count no more Luke, no more Cam, no more Greg Olsen. So, yeah, man, run CMC all day.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. We want you to be a part of the show. Go ahead and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the thumbs up button. It helps let other people know that the show is worth listening to. And if you're just how about this? Is share the show with a friend. If you know a Panthers fan, send them the link to the podcast or the YouTube channel. It helps us grow and continue just to have this fan discussion each and every week. Let's go ahead and get into the cat calls, guys. The number is 252-228-5098, where you can be a part of the C3 Panthers podcast. Let's see what you guys got to say.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his notebook? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Scott from up in Winston-Salem. So I had a question. The NBA does a lottery draft where the teams pick a number. What would happen if, or you guys' thoughts, on if the NFL done a lottery draft as well, where they pick numbers, and therefore it makes the scouts scout more people, which could obviously bring in a little bit more staff requirements and, you know, a little bit more employees that could help out during these times. But what if they ended up do that? And as far as the draft, I'm pretty set on Isaiah too. I'm good with him, and I hate we lost Cam, but neither here nor there. Bridgewater's not that bad of a guy as far as passing. Of course, being in the NFC South, you know, we watch a bunch of those games. But with that being said, let's like to get you guys' thoughts on that. Maybe if the NFL done a lottery draft, and we wouldn't have to worry about who's picking where. So, hey, I appreciate it. You guys keep up the good show and listen to it every Tuesday. And sometimes I got to keep up with it on different days. But anyway, you guys do a fantastic job. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's a reference for when Tony forgets to hit publish on the podcast. Guys, I gotta say this is that Simmons, we're all in love with that pick. Is, you know, other than, you know, various affiliations, for me it's Tua. You know, I would not be upset if that was the name I heard. I'd be very excited to get Simmons and move on from that. Go into the discussion about the lottery. I hate the NBA lottery, dude. I hate that teams that are. I like the idea of the worst team getting the first pick.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't even buy the argument that it's going to stop people or teams from tanking. I mean, really, tanking doesn't exist anyway. Like, it exists from an organizational standpoint. If, as a GM and an owner, you're like, well, we're going to trade players and try and get picks for next year. But you're not ever going to tell players to go out there and play bad. Like, they have families. They're trying to get second contracts. They're trying to do all these things. And, yeah, like, imagine if the Panthers went 0-16 and the Patriots
the
Patriots went to the AFC Championship game
And they won the lottery.
and then they had the number one pick in the draft.
Well, usually it wouldn't be them, but it would be like a team
But it
that
could
was
be
like
them.
6-10 or
right,
something.
and depending on how bad you are is how many number of balls you have in the lottery. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I think the NFL draft is just fine the way it is.
I agree. And here's what I can say as a basketball fan. I can look at it and I hate the lottery. I absolutely hate the idea of the lottery because I'm a believer that even though sports are sports and they're unpredictable, there is some controllable things about them, okay? And I do believe that when you put a lottery in there, you take the randomness out of what's going on and you add human error into the equation. So basically, if you ever watch the NBA draft lottery, any year there is a player who's coming out who is going to be an all-star player that's a top prospect that you know for sure in the next few years are going to come out. The Knicks, the Lakers, the Celtics, they always win that top lottery pick. And I hate that. Like I said, I'm a believer that there is. I'm very skeptical. I'm very cynical. I believe
that would
there's always
just say
something
that
behind
the
what's going
lottery
on.
is rigged. That just questions even the legitimacy of the actual.
That's what I'm saying.
lottery
I'm saying
process.
it's rigged because look at last year in the NFL. We have Super Bowl, the 100th year of the NFL. Okay, who played in the first Super Bowl? The Chiefs and the Packers, right?
Oh gosh, here comes Greg with his.
Who were on all the commercials?
At least he's
All the
consistent.
commercials together was Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, and I don't care what anybody says. I can show you about 8 plays last year that changed the Packers' total trajectory of where they were going. That completely changed the game and made them win. The NFL was doing everything they could for the narrative of, look at that. The Chiefs and the Packers are back in the 100th year of the Super Bowl when the Super Bowl's here, and they were in our first Super Bowl. Same with Super Bowl 50 with Carolina. Do you really think they wanted Cam Newton to win Super Bowl 50 over Peyton?
See, I don't buy this because I think that they missed too many good opportunities. Like they missed last year. What was it? They missed the opportunity of basically having Drew Brees versus somebody else. You would like if it was rigged, they're not doing a good job at giving us even the best matchups.
They can only rig so much. They can only do so much.
But this is my thing, though. I mean, obviously, I'm not behind the scenes, but to me, what it does is it takes away from the winners. Like, yes, I do think that the NFL wanted Peyton to go out with another ring, but at the same time, Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware just beat our
They
ass.
just ate. They just feasted.
But there were some bad calls in that game that changed the game.
Yeah,
if you want to talk about conspiracy, you should talk about the conditions of the turf. Did you see? There's this one video of Michael Orr where he was sliding.
So stupid, man.
Okay, all right.
So much. Yeah, why are we talking about Super Bowl?
We were talking about the lottery. I want to react to one thing with what Cody said is that you can't effectively tank in the NFL. You can if they keep adding games, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing when it comes to the NBA is like you see guys, they're just like, man, we got 40 more games to go. Shit. No. That's the thing about the exclusivity of NFL and the national championship is that each moment matters so much in that little, that person's career, the span of the game. So I think if the NFL overplays their hand by expanding the playoffs, continuing to add games, you might see some of those things that we thought were not aspects of the NFL creep into them. Let's keep going through the calls. Numbers 252-228-5098. Lay.
Panthers podcast, how y'all doing?
What's up, G?
How y'all doing?
What's up, man?
Professor, Cody, the two other gentlemen, the man with the cowboy hat, the Batman dude. How y'all doing? Hey, man, I'm telling you, man, the draft is coming up, and I am so damn hyped. But let me talk to you guys about one thing. Me personally, I want Isaiah Simmons with the number 7 pick. I really, really do. I honestly think he's going to fall to damn 7. And the reason why I say this, and just hear me out, if the Redskins do not pick him and the Giants don't pick him, I think he will fall to 7. I see the Redskins picking Chase Young, and I see, honestly, the Giants getting offensive tackle because, Gentleman loves the hog mileage, whatever. But just hear me out on this, man. If he's not there, you got Derek Brown, defensive tackle. I'll be happy with that pick, but I really don't want it because I think he's kind of overrated. What you guys think about Kinlaw? I think he can cause a lot of damage. A lot of people see us taking Jeff Okudah from Ohio State, the corner. The way I look at it, Bradbury left, so that'll be good. But my thing is this: come the second round, hey, call me stupid. I want Jalen Hurts, man. I really want that dude to be a Panther, man. I really, really want him to. I'm not sold on Will Greer. I'm just not. And another dude to look at, man, y'all look up, is Ross Blacklock from TCU. He's another defensive tackle. That dude has a motor. And before I go, hey, Cody, man, I called in before. If those people I named in the first round are not there, would you take A.J. Terrell in the first round? Would you take him if he's still there? If Okudah, Kinlaw, Derek Brown, and Isaiah Simmons are gone, would you take A.J. Terrell? I looked at his highlight tape. That boy is nasty. I think we can get him in a second, personally. But give me your ideas on that, y'all. And keep pounding, baby.
Keep pounding.
What a call.
With the burn. For those of you who don't know, AJ Terrell is a cornerback
Cornerback.
from Clemson. So I've seen him play for 3 years now, and the dude is a shutdown corner. I will say this: there are some flaws to his game. Everyone loves to hold LSU against him, and Jamar Chase. If the wide receiver for LSU were available in this year's draft, he would be wide receiver number 1. Okay, so sometimes when you play LeBron, you get dunked on, and that's what happened.
Actually, that's always when you play LeBron.
Yeah, so that's what happened to AJ Terrell, and people are kind of holding that against him. AJ Terrell is receiving a ton of top 16 hype. Apparently, the Cowboys are interested. The Falcons are really high on him. I would be a little disappointed if we took him at 7. If he was a part of a trade back, yeah, AJ Terrell would be perfect. 6'1", 200 pounds, long arms. He does well in press man coverage. He would be a perfect addition to our team. I would love to have him in the 2nd round, but sadly, I don't think that he will fall that far. If the Panthers traded back for AJ Terrell or CJ Henderson, I'd be fine with that. In the top 10, that's a little bit of a reach. But yeah, I would love AJ would. Guys, Corn Elder is a starter right now. That's bad. That's bad.
For who?
The Panthers.
Oh God, that's even worse.
For who? What other team doesn't Corn Elder?
God, how is he still on the team? See, that's the messed up thing. Isn't this, what kind of world is this? Cameron Artis-Payne has no job. Corn Elder's starting, and Cameron Newton is going to go win the Super Bowl with the LA Chargers. I want to ask you guys this.
They need to sign him and hurry up.
What I think is, I think they're going to wait for after the draft when they pick Isaiah Simmons.
They'd be dumb not to. They'd be dumb not to wait.
If I am the LA Chargers, I go and draft Isaiah Simmons, add him with Derwin James, that defense. We solved this last night. And you sign Cam. You have Bosa in that defense. You have the offensive weapons there. And then you put Cam Newton in a uniform like this. I'm showing them on YouTube, guys. The Chargers uniforms that are straight dope uniforms came out today. All of them are nice. My favorite is the one on the far left, which is the one we were talking about second to the right when in the picture we were looking at, Cody. But Cam Newton all of a sudden wins a damn Super Bowl championship with the Chargers. If they add Isaiah, will the Chargers do as they are told and draft a quarterback in the draft, or do you think, hey, we can load up right now and win with damn Jameis Winston or Cam Newton?
I don't know that any of the teams that people are saying have to draft a quarterback, none of them really necessarily have to. I mean, they're
except for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and
please don't say Fitzpatrick. Not you, but like, I don't want to hear this nonsense about Fitzpatrick being the stopgap. He's just there filling out he's a body at this point.
Right, he's a roster spot. Yeah.
I'm in my opinion, it just depends on the difference between how teams in the top 10 have Justin Herbert graded and how they have Tua graded. Because there are teams I'm willing to bet that just probably don't want to take a chance on the injury history of Tua. So if Justin Herbert is your number 1 quarterback and you can't draft Joe Burrow and the Dolphins move up and take Justin Herbert at number 3 or 4, then yeah, the Chargers could 100% do everything that Tony just said.
Wouldn't they be a better team, like almost a win now possible team, if they added a quarterback without questions and without questions, but
and Trey Turner's over there,
right? Yeah, Trey Turner in there. CK to complicate this matter is that Cody referenced that the injury concerns with Tua are a lot of the concern at this moment. But we were talking about it the other night, and his Wonderlic score leaked.
13.
And it's pretty low. And I know that people that we're gonna be trying not to be overreactive and be like, that boy dumb, right, or something like that. But is there ever a point when it scores? I understand that, I mean, Cam scored a 23 on it, and people gave him shit for that.
So yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be that concern when you talk about the leader of your team. But like we said, Cam got roasted for his. So I mean, I think it's only a fair comparison, except for Cam didn't have the same injury concern. So now not only are you getting somebody who's a risk from the that perspective, is the injury risk, and here's the part that I'll say to justify the injury risk thing. I was watching Pat McAfee's radio show this morning. They had Carson Palmer on, who suffered injuries throughout his entire career. He is concerned about Tua. He said that's a red flag for him, and he's been there, right?
And that's something because Jordan Palmer, his brother, is training Tua right now.
Yeah,
that's his quarterback coach. So,
God,
I mean,
that's a bad. I'd be firing that dude right away for what his brother's talking about.
I mean, Jordan Palmer is like the creme de la creme of quarterback.
Well, he's getting fired now because his dumb brother out there talking shit about my hip.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, I was just going to say, man, as far as the Wonderlic scores go, like, they do mean something, but it's like a 40 time in the underwear gymnastics. Like,
I disagree.
Like, okay, it does mean something, but let's look. Lamar Jackson scored a 13. Dan Marino scored a 16. Jim Kelly scored a 15. Ben Roethlisberger scored a 25. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, it's not that important. Like, I feel like some people test well and some people don't. And I don't want to make excuses, but I don't think you can judge how good a quarterback's going to be based on this Wonderlic score. And to be honest with you, based on the way the statistics have gone, with the quarterbacks that have come through it, I wouldn't base much on it at all. It's more of a reaction type thing.
Dan Marino scored a 16. Lamar Jackson last year scored a 13. And he was the MVP and just revealed is going to be on the cover of Madden 21.
All right,
which is unfortunate for him.
Which is unfortunate for him, and I will not. The jury is still out on Lamar Jackson. Is like, and I'm not saying that he's like. I'm not going to be overawed by it. My question ultimately is there a point where a score is low enough to be a real justifiable concern? And it's just strange in the greatest moment of your life where you're so concerned about putting this video out, about having this image, that you do this poorly on this test. And I'm not saying that it's a giant thing, but it is like, God, it's a little low, man. Like, damn. Yeah. And I want to. It ain't helping the stock.
Went to Alabama. What do you expect?
Oh, yes, like South Carolina is so much better. South Carolina's 50th in education. Just so you know.
That's more of a Clemson fan joking on Alabama because Clemson can put Alabama in the dirt. So us Clemson fans have the right to say that. But Alabama fans can stay mad.
So the argument that I would have, even when you bring Dan Marino and Jim Kelly and everything, obviously that was a completely different time, right? Those guys, I think, already kind of had an expectation, and they may not have taken it seriously. I think that these guys nowadays do. And I'll also put it out there like this. I mean, Cam Newton, I love Cam Newton to death, but they had to dumb down the offense for him, right? Because he didn't like the long play calls. They had to basically create very short play calls for him to be able to actually do that. I'm not saying that he was dumb. I'm just thinking these guys don't put as much effort into that aspect of the game. They're so focused on perfecting their physical aspects that they're not necessarily focused on the intelligence aspect of things when it comes to the game.
But it's not necessarily not being focused on intelligence. And I think it just varies from quarterback to quarterback. I think it's more of a scenario where, Cam Newton wants to get the play off fast, wants to be able to go to the huddle, say the play, and then be able to make checks at the line.
And I have a problem too with people when they talk about the play calling is like, why does it have to be that complex?
I think.
Like, I mean,
it's like
honestly, why is it that you are making this so complicated? When you hear the calls, it's like two sentences of non-related words.
But
I mean, at least make it like little girl goes to the beach and flies a kite. At least that.
Look at the most successful offensives that have maintained at a high level. Every one of them have a complex play calling system.
Well, and can I make a point about that too? Like, you've got to look at it from two different points of view. You got to look at it from like Peyton Manning and what was his wide receiver? Not Edgerrin James. It was a running back. Not Ty, the guy for Ty. Reggie Wayne. Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne, two highly not athletic, but two highly intelligent at their position that trust each other, and look at it like a Jameis Winston and I don't say Jameis Winston, say Kyle Allen and DJ Moore. DJ Moore's a good wide receiver that can put up numbers, but if you don't have another guy throwing to him that is the intelligent type guy you are, or if you can be on a different level, a wide receiver and quarterback combo, it changes the game up. Like I said, Reggie Wayne and Peyton Manning is the perfect example. Look at Tom Brady and Randy Moss, two guys who were amazing as far as IQ goes in their position, and it makes all the difference in the world. You know, when you have a guy at a wide receiver that's not up to speed with the guy at quarterback, or vice versa, it changes everything up. You know, that's why we were talking about Cody the other day about interceptions. I wish interceptions were like sacks, where you get half of one. Because not all interceptions are quarterback's fault.
Jamarcus Russell scored a 24 on the Wonderlic.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can't.
What was the quarterback from Tennessee that won the championship with the Texans? Vince Young. Vince Young. Vince Young. Vince Young. How about this? Vince Young. Vince Young scored a 6 on the Wonderlic.
Oh my god!
And Terrell Pryor scored a 7. And I do remember a player that Joe Riolano and I wanted back in the 2012 draft in Maurice Claiborne.
Yeah,
he scored a 4. So you know what I call him now? No-mo. Bo knows, Mo don't know. He's no-mo.
It's not, I mean, especially if you've listened to an interview with Tua, that young man is not stupid. He's a hard worker.
All right, but how about this? For someone who wants him, does that complicate, like CK was saying? Now you have the hip and is there anything to potentially falling beyond, say, the top past the Chargers? Is it a real possibility?
I think it's always going to be a real possibility.
Yeah. That's true. How many times have you seen 4 quarterbacks taken the top 7 or 3 quarterbacks taken the top 7?
Well, it happened in 2000.
About to happen this year.
Right, but not very often, right? It doesn't happen that often.
No, it doesn't happen that often. But I don't know, man. I think the wild card is how much do NFL teams value the assessment of their own doctors over Tua's doctor. Yeah. I mean, they might have the mindset, well, yeah, of course Tua's doctor is going to tell us that his hip is fine and it's he's fine, he's okay, but they trust their own doctor. I mean, that's why they're employed. And when they're going to spend, 20-something million on a quarterback in the first round, you want your people to sign off on them.
I promise you that if Tua slips out of the top 10, expect the Saints to go get him.
I think
the doctor talk, Cody, if the doctors, if it goes by that and they thought Cam Newton was injured, then they must think Tua's on his deathbed. So Carolina's not getting to us based on that.
Do you think that when it comes, I don't want to get bogged down in a Cam conversation because we can for like 2 hours. But do you guys think that this not about the foot with Cam?
Yeah, they want to move on.
No, like, okay. So moving on. Do you think that the injury concerns though are really with the shoulder? You see him shooting hoops on Instagram, just laying buckets like he was going to be in like the damn NBA, dude. I was like, God, that foot looks like fine to me.
Dude, have you seen him? He is jacked. I mean, dude, Cam Newton has to be pushing 250, 255 right now, dude. I'm telling you, if you look at him, this lit a fire under his ass. Dude.
Did he? Is he starting to eat meat again?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because I feel like he's getting the physique he had within the first, like getting back to that same level of. It felt like he's exactly like
beef, right?
Ever since 2015, it felt like he is just lean. Like he's become much more. I'm not gonna say skinny, but like more. Like I guess chiseled is the better.
I
way
thought that was gonna benefit him. I thought him shaving 15 pounds was really gonna help him.
Yeah. I think the way that he runs, he's not Lamar Jackson. He isn't juking people out. He is running guys over. He's able to get out of the tackles. Like it was hard to bring him down. It wasn't hard to get your hands on him a lot of times. It was hard to bring him down because he's such a freak athlete.
Cam, you don't gotta run anymore, bro. You don't gotta run. Just throw the ball. Let's keep going with the calls. The number's 252-228-5098.
Panthers podcast. How y'all doing?
Next call.
What's up, guys? Kyle from VA. It's been a couple weeks since I called in. Just been I've been having some personal shit going on in my life.
Well, we hope hope that gets better, bro.
Man, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look like they're going to be the most efficient fucking offense that has ever been assembled.
I'm glad he brought this up right now.
To think of what they can do with Brady, Gronk, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and don't forget about the defense they got. You're not running the ball.
Cameron Brate.
The year we decided to rebuild our team, pretty much, and let the staple of everybody who's been this team for the past decade is the year our division stacks up. I don't ever give up hope on us, ever. I always think we have a fighting chance. But as of right now, God, it doesn't look good. It does not look good for us next year, boys. It looks pretty fucking bad. We got Christian McCaffrey. Hopefully he doesn't get killed. Teddy, 2 fucking gloves. DJ, I think we can still do some, depending on how this draft goes, and maybe we make a couple more moves, maybe. But fuck, man, the Bucs went from last to first overnight, literally overnight.
Everybody thought that about the Bucs too.
I'm ready for football, man. Either way, I'm just ready to watch some damn football. I'm getting hyped back up again. The draft's almost here. But yeah, anyway, fellas, I've been listening to the podcast. Just haven't had any motivation to, call in or whatever. But anyways, can't wait for the show tonight. Mr. C3 Panthers podcast family. All right, guys, keep pounding.
Well, thanks for your call, man, and we appreciate your support. And it's been a couple of months for Panther fans on the heels of some disappointing seasons that have made it difficult for us to just be excited by the news coming out until we get some new news and some good news. And I think that when maybe the good news is that the year that we are potentially tanking is the year that the Bucs are being awesome and the Saints, are stacked as usual. But today the news broke, guys, that the Patriots have agreed to a trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers where they have traded a unretiring Gronkowski in the final year of his contract with a 7th pick for a 4th round pick. Now, Gronkowski will join Tom Brady in Florida as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have retooled around that defense like he was mentioned. What do you guys think about the Gronkowski move? And I need you to carry the conversation because my dog is going nutso.
No, I'll jump in there first. First, let me say to Kyle, who said he's been going through some things. Man, one of my favorite sayings of all time is calm waters never made for skilled sailors. So keep on sailing, brother. Strong people last, and that's just how the world works, man. But you know the C3 family loves you. But as we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, if you would have told me that Gronk was going to come out of retirement and come to Tampa, and listen, I want you guys' opinion on this. In my mind, this is such an indictment on the locker room for the Patriots. I mean,
yes.
Gronk was retired and happily retired.
CK, you talk on pushback on that.
Now Tom Brady is moving away from there. They want to have fun playing football.
Yep.
They don't just want to win. They want to enjoy themselves. And Gronk found this the perfect opportunity to play with Tom one more time in a better environment with better weather, with a better locker room.
Okay. Good, CK.
I'm full. This is something I was actually thinking about. I think that when we talk about the Brady or Belichick argument, you know, the chicken or the egg, right? Similar argument. Which one was the creator of the other? And what we run into is a scenario where now you're seeing all of these veterans that not only have played in New England, but have played against New England, who are all wanting to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, because guess who they're not calling up, right? You're not hearing all these people talking about going and signing with the Patriots. You hear them going to sign with the Bucs.
Yeah.
Right now, the thing that I'm looking at is Gronk is following them. I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this, but I've heard Edelman is on the fence about possibly asking to be traded down to the Bucs.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So I'm just saying, like, if you have the team that has been led by Tom Brady for that entire time, you tell me who they think was the motivating factor behind those Super Bowls that they won.
And Greg, before you jump in here, it's just to clarify the position. It's not that the Patriots haven't shown the world how to be the most dominant franchise in the NFL, because they've obviously done that. But I do think that there is a conversation to be had where it's like, man, we're winning, and yeah, that's fine, but the Patriots don't really pay that well. It's about the system over everything, and this old system that just kind of puts shackles on players being themselves and enjoying themselves and not always having to look forward to next Sunday.
I promise you, if the Patriots do not show success this year or even in the next couple of years, they're going to have a very difficult time getting people to sign there, because people that sign there as in free agency and take a pay cut and could possibly be making money elsewhere, because the Patriots do not pay top dollar for people, they're the ones that are going to be looking like, well, why would I go to the Patriots? The whole point of me wanting to go there to begin with was to possibly win a championship. They are not even close to being the same team that they were. So if you start losing that success, well, now you start losing the interest in players coming to that system and actually working. So I think if Tom Brady was the glue holding all those players together, I mean, like you said, you're seeing Edelman starting to consider it. Gronk came out of retirement at 29 years old to do this. I mean, and
wasn't he doing like professional wrestling or something? Like,
yeah, I mean, he's been doing a lot. I mean, if you saw him during Super Bowl week, he was all over the place. I just sit there and I look at this as it's clear that the players on the team of the Patriots saw where they felt the success came from, and it clearly wasn't Bill Belichick.
Okay. Let me start out by saying, I am not taking anything away from Tom Brady. Tom Brady has won 6 Super Bowls, which is amazing. Even though I think a few of them were not his fault. I think a few of them he lucked into, whatever. I'm not getting into that right now. The bottom line is he's won 6 Super Bowls. It's like my Michael Jordan comparison. Okay? But I'm not getting into that either. I think that Gronk coming out of retirement is ring and fame chasing. And if you don't think that's the way Gronk is from the last year you've seen him outside of the NFL, that is what he wants. He wants money. He wants fame. This gives him both. Edelman talking about coming down to Tampa Bay is the exact same way.
I disagree on that.
Look at every single wide receiver that has come out of the New England system away from Tom Brady. What have they done? Look at every single receiver that has been with another team, then come into the New England system. What have they done? Now, that goes to Tom Brady's credit. Apparently, he is a very good leader, and I'm not taking that away from him. And he, throughout his career, has been a very good quarterback. However, if you take the numbers from last year and really put them up, don't take their record, because everybody loves to look at record, which is a team effort. Look at Tom Brady's individual numbers, okay? This guy is not the guy that has been throwing to them for the last few years. Now, in the right situation, Tom Brady could thrive. He could do well with the right weapons, with the right situation, okay? But you are taking a big chance, a really big chance. If you're Edelman, if you're Gronkowski, if you're anybody talking about coming out of retirement or trading teams to play with Tom Brady, but you're taking a big chance the other direction also, because every player who's gone away from him has done bad. So it's kind of a situation where it's either win-win or lose-lose. There's no middle ground. You either lose in this or you win in this. Like, I don't know.
Guys,
I don't think that Tom Brady's going to thrive in Tampa Bay. I think he's going to do well. He's going to be an okay quarterback. Okay. I've seen Brad Johnson win a Super Bowl.
Well, that leads me to a good question. And now that Tony is back, I want an answer from all three of you. If you look at all the teams in the NFC South, are you confident that the Panthers are a better team than the Saints, the Bucs, and the Falcons?
No.
Are we better than any of them? Like, do we even have a chance in our own division? Now, obviously, this is going to change before and after the draft, depending on how the draft is for all the teams involved. But as of right now, I don't know, man. This roster, in my opinion, doesn't hold a candle to either of the three of them, especially now Tampa Bay. Now, I'm not going to award them the division yet, but, man, I don't know, man. That's not.
I'll answer that question. I think we.
Oh, God.
I think our future is a lot brighter than those organizations, because you have right now, I think the writing's on the wall, because you've heard murmurs of them trying to trade OJ Howard away, down in Tampa Bay, which is something I'd like to talk about here in just a second. But you have a very complex system down in New Orleans where they do not have a person who is an heir apparent to Drew Brees when he retires, which I know he's signing for 2 more years with them, but I don't know how he makes it out of this next year, especially if there's any success, or if there is no success whatsoever. If the Bucs end up taking the division and the Saints are sitting out of the playoffs, I'm not sure that Drew Brees comes back next year. The Falcons, I think there is an argument to be made. I think that the Falcons, outside of Julio Jones, I mean, in Calvin Ridley, who was, in my opinion, just benefited from, taking on the second corner of defenses. I don't really know where their success lies, because they have definitely taken a lot of hits as far as all of that's concerned as well, outside of getting Todd Gurley, who some could argue is a move that's going to not necessarily pan out in the long run. So,
or he's going to be just fine and be. Here's the deal: is that anybody cannot say that the Panthers are not the worst prospective team in the division at this moment.
Yeah, right.
Just that we might. Who knows how it will shake out? You don't know what injuries will do. You don't know how the Falcons. Who knows what Falcons you're going to get? The Falcons could be a 12-4 team, or they could be a 2-14 team. The way they are, you don't know what they're going to get. They're. I feel like they're in the mids, like maybe around 14, 13, 14. I'll look it up. But the Saints have not gotten worse. They've only stayed at the very minimum, stayed the same and gotten better potentially with the addition of Emmanuel Sanders as well as Malcolm Jenkins back with them. So the Panthers, the only thing we have is the future ahead of us at this moment. To me, the interesting storyline when it comes to Gronkowski continues to surround O.J. Howard, which I think is unfortunate. O.J. Howard showed so much promise at the end of 2018. Then Arians comes in, and no tight end has ever thrived in an Arians offense. And that is one of the things I said, well, with Tom Brady there, O.J. Howard now is going to be a viable factor. I was surprised by this move. I wonder what it means for O.J. Howard. And really, how could they have 3 pass-catching tight ends on that team? Unfortunate to me for O.J. Howard, and I'm really surprised that Tom Brady wasn't just willing to work with the young kid.
Falcons for 16.
Yeah, I'm of the mind that that O.J. Howard. I think it'd be smart to let O.J. Howard kind of learn behind Gronkowski for a bit. But I mean, O.J. Howard has been in the league for what, 3 years now, or is it 2 years? I think it's 2. No, 3. It's 3 because he had a disappointing first year. He had a great second year, and then last year was disappointing again. So this is his 4th year. If he hasn't gotten it together by now, there's a problem. And so the fact that there are rumors that they're shopping him is interesting. But I still think that when you look at the grand scheme of things, I wanted to ask you guys with the O.J. Howard news or with the Gronkowski news, that puts a big in my opinion, a target on O.J. Howard. I don't know how he survives the offseason with the Bucs. I think that he's getting traded after the draft, if nothing else. What would you guys be willing to give up for him? Because right now, do we have a definitive answer at tight end? Because we have Seth Roberts and Ian Thomas.
The answer is no to your definitive thing, because we don't have anything definitive, even on the team hardly, let alone at tight end. But Tampa Bay working with the Carolina Panthers in interdivisional seems a far stretch, but gosh,
but who else why you're looking at the Panthers as being the least threat in the NFC South?
Right. That wouldn't that be the ultimate slap in the face if they actually did business with you?
Yeah, I mean that's what I would think about. I mean, we were dead last year in the NFC South, so I mean there's a problem there. I think what's going to be interesting about the Bucs next year is when you think about the idea of Tom Brady coming there with all those weapons, your thoughts are, this is going to be a potent offense. This is going to be an incredible offense. It's going to be just yards after yards after yards, right? If you look at any of Bruce Arians' offenses that he has run, their quarterbacks take a ton of sacks because he makes sure the quarterback holds onto the ball until the play can develop. And so you're seeing a lot of that. Now, I mean, Carson Palmer was talking about it this morning. I mean, you see it with you had seen it a little bit with Andrew Luck, with Ben Roethlisberger a while back. I mean, there is a huge. I mean, you saw it last year with Jameis Winston. He was holding onto the ball, waiting for these routes to develop, and so these guys were getting massive numbers. Yes, a lot of interceptions as well, but these guys were getting massive numbers. Tom Brady is not going to hold onto the ball that long. He is not. So what I can see happening, as great as these moves make them look, I could also see a scenario where they're creating a dream team, and we know what happens with dream teams. They don't work. They don't work out because what's going to happen is the style that Tom Brady plays is far opposite to what Bruce Arians' offense normally looks like. So you're going to have that type of friction there. And then if you do run Tom Brady's side of things, now you have 2 receivers that are expecting to be in the top 5 in receiving yards in the league every year. Now, all of a sudden, they're not coming close to those numbers because guess what? They're feeding the rock to Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, or O.J. Howard. So there is a scenario where you have a very frustrated offense and almost maybe a repeat of what happened a few years ago when they had Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, and Cameron Brate and whoever else. I can't remember that other guy that they had that ended up getting in a lot of trouble. But this could be a scenario that's built to just be a nuclear blast that blows up in their face. I'm hoping that, but
potentially. But you could also see Tampa Bay loading up on offensive line this year at 14, adding some protection to Tom Brady. And like I said in the past, CK on this show, or Cody, I wanted to reference pass the mic to Cody on this. Is that I've said in the past is that it would be something. It would tell us a lot about Bruce Arians if he was unable to adjust with a Tom Brady at quarterback. If Tom Brady was no longer capable of being that down the field type passer, what a shame it would be, and really a stain on the ideas that we have about Bruce Arians as a coach if he could not be malleable enough in his processes with an offense to adjust for that. I think the real story with Tampa Bay, Cody, though, is not on that offense, but Todd Bowles and that defense. They are legitimate there, and I think that gives Tom Brady and that offense enough cushion that they can work with. Your thoughts on O.J. Howard?
Yeah, I mean, O.J. Howard is a player that I wanted us to draft. I was not at the time, I didn't know that Christian McCaffrey was going to be the player that he is now. Who could have foreseen that? Call that a miss on my part. But no, I'm kind of not. I don't agree with CK or Greg, man. Listen, I have more respect for Tom Brady now than I ever have, because what's everyone ever said about him? He doesn't have a big arm. And what's Bruce Arians' offense predicated on? Throwing the ball down the field.
Like, so he wants to prove people wrong.
In my mind, listen, did you all watch The Last Dance?
You got to convince me.
Did you all watch The Last Dance?
It yet. No, don't ruin my ISO pick.
I'm not ruining you. Yeah. All I'm saying is greatness has a next level, almost psychotic level of dedication and a chip on your shoulder that never goes away, man. I think Bruce Arians is one of the best head coaches in the NFL. I think Tom Brady has something to prove. I have more faith in Tampa Bay being a better football team than Atlanta, because Atlanta is Atlanta.
Because Atlanta, we don't know their coaching staff. It's a carousel right now. You don't know what you're going to get out of them.
Right, but
what are your thoughts about this? Here, let's pivot the conversation back to Carolina then. Thoughts on the tight end position and how that in the draft is that you see Carolina working in maybe the mid rounds to address something like this, because we don't have a lot of answers or anything beyond Ian Thomas at this point.
Well, can I start this off? And I want to ask Cody a question. Cody,
what's up?
Let's say first round we draft Simmons or Tua or Herbert or Okudah. One of those four. Okay, those guys. Because one of those four guys is going to fall to us. Yeah, like that's all there is to it.
All right,
I don't know if we're going to take him or not. One of those four guys will be there. Okay.
All right. All players that I like.
Let's say second round.
Yeah.
We traded away our second round pick for O.J. Howard. Would you be upset with that? Because then we get O.J. Howard and Christian McCaffrey from that 3 year ago draft class that we loved, that we wanted both of them, and we get O.J. Howard at a second round price 2 years later, 3 years later. How would you feel about that?
Did they pick up the 5th year option on him? I don't know. I mean, probably not. Probably not.
Too rich for your blood.
But it's too rich for my blood. And I'm telling y'all, the Panthers are not in a win right now mode. Like, we legit, I mean, depending on how the draft goes, and listen, I'll bet you anything that whenever they start doing the too early mock drafts for 2021, like next month, the Jaguars and the Panthers they're gonna be up there. So
I saw the Panthers. The Panthers are only favored in one game next year.
So okay, my question has been: you wouldn't take it if we draft. Let's say we draft Simmons in the first round. Okay, we have Bridgewater as our quarterback. We have our wide receivers. The second round rolls around, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers say, "Hey, we'll give you O.J. Howard and a 5th round pick."
No, let me tell you why.
Your second round pick.
Because it's a tight end for 2 years, and there are much more pressing needs on our defense. So, for example, if it were a better,
Joey Esquivel wants him. He said we should go get OJ Howard.
If we had a better football team right now, a better roster that needed one complimentary piece, sure. But that's not where we're at right now.
And I'm talking like fourth. I'm talking fifth at this point. You showed your hand. Tampa Bay showed their hand with OJ Howard.
They're doing. They did what we did with Cam.
Yeah.
So let's say
they're the ones that they have too many tight ends on their team.
I agree with Jarrell Strickland in our chat. A fourth or later. A fourth or later. Yeah, a fourth or later, fine, because we might draft a tight end this year. I don't know.
And how many fourth round picks do you miss on all the time?
Yeah, a ton. So a second round is too rich, and they know that everyone knows that they're trying to trade them. So
what was the contract like that Gronk was under?
I have no idea.
He's got $10 million. It's a $10 million deal this year.
That's not horrible. Ooh. That's not horrible.
Golly.
Do the Saints not have a first round pick?
Yeah, they do. They picked 24.
Oh, yep. I'm cutting. All right, I see. All right, let's keep powering through with the calls. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey, everybody. This is Anthony Rochelle. And
what's up, man?
It's going to be draft time soon, but I would love for us to get Isaiah Simmons.
He's a popular choice.
Man.
I'm excited. And, just happy for Panthers. And also, keep pounding.
All right, thanks, Anthony. I do want to bring this up is if you want to see that popular choice drafted by the Carolina Panthers and Isaiah Simmons, a great place to check that out would be with us on Thursday night as we do our live draft show. This will be, I think, we started in 2014, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8 years, our 8th draft show that we will have. I've already lined up guest analysts for the Falcons, the Green Bay Packers. Who else I get? Tampa Bay, the Saints. I'll get the Jets on the show. I'll get a lot of, we're kind of cycling through. We have people coming in and out. And again, you can be a part of that by, participating in the show like you do on YouTube. But if you give us a little information and notice, we can work to get you into the call with us on draft night as we watch it unfold. And right now, Cody, the popular name is Isaiah Simmons. Everybody likes that at 7. And I think that you really, it's going to be hard to pass on a player, a defensive player of that caliber at that moment. But I do think a lot of people mentioned earlier is don't be surprised if we just go D-tackle here.
Listen, man, let me make the case for Isaiah Simmons.
Let's hear
I'm gonna shout into the void for a minute. Part of the reason why you've been drafting Isaiah Simmons is because offenses are never going to know what you plan to do based on where Isaiah Simmons is lined up. And in a division that now has Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, now Gronk, OJ Howard, we have a lot of big physical players that are going to try and go up and get the football. So why not get a guy? What's that sound?
Good ones.
Sorry, I was trying to play the Isaiah Simmons simulcast video as you were talking.
A guy who is 6'4", 238 pounds, and can run faster than all those dudes that I just mentioned. I mean, you can put him in the slot. Listen, if you left Isaiah Simmons as an inside linebacker, and even though and just left him there, even though that wasn't his primary position, he would be an All-Pro in 2 years.
Here it comes again. Sorry.
Derwin James. Two good ones.
I thought I turned this sound off. Wow. He's so fast, dude. He's so fast.
He's absolutely incredible. And the
Can you
amount
be overwhelmed by that a little though? Can you be wowed too much by when you see a guy who is just so physically gifted that you
no,
go,
that's if it was just the physical gifts alone. I'm telling you this as someone that has watched him since his freshman year. Isaiah Simmons can do shit that no other man can do unless you're born with that type of genetics.
So he's like a defensive Cam Newton, dude.
The
That's
man,
I agree. Yep.
the man was
pair.
taught how to run by Jamaican sprinters. Come on now.
Was he on a bobsled team before Jamaica by any chance?
I believe so.
Cool runnings. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme.
How much more important is Isaiah Simmons right now?
Yeah, so much more important.
It's so much more important with the moves that have been made in the NFC South. Think about the guys he is going to be helping to cover in those, in those third down situations where we know it's going to be a pass play. You have Atlanta Falcons with Julio Jones. He can run right there with him, and then you have Gronk, OJ Howard, if they decide to keep him. Then you have, there's just so many situations that exist where Isaiah Simmons right in this moment is the best possible situation.
I'm still not sold entirely that Dave Gettleman will be able to pass on Isaiah Simmons personally.
Well, let me pose this to you then. Dave Gettleman's sitting there at number 4. One time for Draft Tech, we were doing some trades, and I proposed the trade of giving the Giants our 7th and our 38th pick in the second round, and that's it, to move up to 4 to draft Isaiah Simmons. Because in my mind, the Panthers, they're not doing everything in their, or they're not all the way focused on being a championship team next year. So why not assure that you have the centerpiece of your defense for the next 10 years? Draft Twitter would hate that shit, but I would do that in a heartbeat. I would move up for Isaiah.
Power play Jay or Jai, forgive me if I mispronounce that, buddy. But says, has anybody watched film on Simmons? He's too rich at 7.
Oh,
too rich at 7. Ooh, please elaborate.
I would play. I don't mean to pull my card on you, bro, but I'm willing to bet I probably watched a little more, and I promise you, he's worth a top 5 pick.
Trail 1, it's Heineken. For information, we're not sponsored by them nor affiliated with them, but guess what? We are not as callous as the NFL to where you cannot drink the beer that is in the fridge on the show when you're doing the show. I want to ask you this, Cody, is since you have made this wonderful case for Isaiah Simmons, even to the point of trading up for him, who is the player on the board at 7 that you would pass on Isaiah Simmons for? Is there a player? Or is that it? No matter who is there, you would take Simmons over them. Tell me who the player is. And if I feel like it's weak sauce if you go Okudah.
So, by the way, today I'm spending hours at a time trying to finish my top 100 players for tonight's show. I was going to have a link in the description, and then the website that I'm using crashed at the end and erased all the work I had been doing for 3 hours.
Oh,
so for those who were expecting my big board, I promise you by Thursday, I'll have a link in the description for it. It'll be done by the time our draft show starts. I will have my top 100 players out. There's only 2 other players that I would choose over Isaiah Simmons. Only 2. And it's Joe Burrow. It's Joe Burrow. And it's Chase Young.
Okay. I can't argue that.
Other than those 2, there isn't another player I'd pick over him.
I like that conviction. Let's keep going through the calls. Here we go.
Before this is G baby. Before we got Robbie Anderson, we signed him. I wanted, like I've been saying, Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb. I wanted receivers, but now that we have this wrench set in the plans. I would love for us. I don't see it in Isaiah Simmons the way you guys do. I just don't see it, man. I'd rather take an offensive tackle or go get Jeffrey Okuda. Imagine if we had Okuda. Do you guys realize we lost James Bradbury?
Yeah,
and
we have
Eric Reed?
man.
You know
Like,
what?
what the
Everybody
fuck?
talk trash about James
Like,
Bradbury.
I don't
I
give
want
a
to hear
fuck
that.
what anyone says. James Bradbury had to go against some of the toughest receivers in the NFL and our division week in and week out and had great fucking games. And we let him go to the fucking Giants. That in itself is the biggest hole. Trying to replace a fucking all-pro corner? Like, come on, fellas. And imagine the crowd saying, Okuda! Like, ooh, that shit would just
Okuda
bad,
Matata.
So, I mean, I like Okuda, but if we can't grab him, like I said, like, I wouldn't be mad if we got CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy, just because those are all world talent. Fellas, there's a difference between freaks, monsters, and aliens. CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, the motherfuckers are aliens, okay?
Yes,
I want
agree.
difference makers. And if that means that we have to draft a position that's not in need, so be it, man. Or, like I said, like, I love the tackle drafts. If not, just get a tackle. But fuck, man, I just don't know. Like, we're such wild cards. Like they've already lied to our face. So anything, like, I can't take any smoke screen, anything that anybody says.
Yep.
Like, I'm just going off of what I want and what I like. I love the corn out of Clemson, but I'm Clemson products, like, besides what DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, Deshaun Watson, name a defensive Clemson player that's an all-pro. I'll wait. On defense, name someone that's been successful that's come out of Clemson on defense. I will fucking wait. Because there's no one. Look what happened to Vic Beasley. We see that fucker twice a year, and he plays for Atlanta. He hasn't been shit.
Great
So, I don't know.
What about Shaq Lawson? What about Shaq Lawson? Wasn't he Clemson?
Yeah, and Grady
I'm
Jarrett.
over here rambling right now. I just wanted to give you guys a call, man. Y'all are doing
I
a
like-
damn good job, man. I still listen to the podcast religiously. But I'm about to watch you, motherfucker.
All right, don't worry. G Baby's coming. He's gonna come back for part 2. You know that. I do. It's interesting though, guys. There are a contingent of people who authentically believe that Isaiah Simmons is good but not great.
Let's.
I see it. Oh, and shout out to Power Play Jay.
Cody, hit him.
$2 love bomb saying he doesn't see it either.
And
I back Cody and everything in this conversation. Go ahead, Cody.
Shout out to Tree 50 for his Tree 50 that he dropped earlier in the chat too. Much love. One, let me just say this: stop judging players based off of the team that they play for. No one's saying that don't draft Tua because Alabama has never put out a top tier quarterback before. Can you name another good quarterback in the NFL that's come from Alabama? Never. But that
I can tell you this is University of Southern California tells us not to damn draft wide receivers.
Whatever, man. Dude, people were
so does USC.
Yeah,
USC no receivers, but
last year that defensive lineman from Florida State never work out. And I mean, Brian Burns was from the little that we did see of him last year was a great player for us. When you talk about a difference maker, this offense right now, other than the offensive line, listen, if you're taking an offensive tackle, I'm not mad because this franchise has never had, other than Jordan Gross, a true left tackle that will lock down the left side. We've never had that. So if we took an Andrew Thomas or Jedrick Wills, I'm not mad at that, especially if we're building for the future. But I do not understand, and this is to everyone in the chat room, everyone listening, everyone who looks at what Isaiah Simmons has done and what his athletic profile and the competition that he's done it up against, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, LSU. I don't know who watches film on Isaiah Simmons and doesn't see the difference maker. The man is the definition of a difference maker. I don't know what more people want to see. If you don't believe in Isaiah Simmons, it's incumbent upon you to tell me why. What are you afraid of? Because if you're just
I think this is PowerPoint Jay says this, and I think this is actually a legitimate point, is that rather than us saying something about Simmons not being everything that most people are saying, he said, I'd rather have a left tackle.
And
that's a fair, at that argument, you're just like this is okay, is that left tackles are super important. Unless you draft Tua, then right tackles are more important.
We just traded for a left tackle, right?
Don't tell me that Isaiah Simmons isn't a difference maker or a game changer. And if you're going to say that, then you have to tell me why. Why isn't he that when all the film says 100% otherwise? Like, there is a reason that there is no current player comparison for him. Have you seen what Derwin James is doing in the NFL right now? Okay, imagine that on another level. Because Isaiah Simmons is a far better.
Me and Jay Cryer. Jay Cryer is going to join us on the draft night show, my boy. And we were so in love with Derwin James that year. And every time his name didn't get called, we were like, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. Oh, Derwin James is amazing. He is a good player. Also, a lot of problems with injury, though.
But for Derwin? Yeah, for Derwin, sure. None for Isaiah.
Okay.
So,
all right, let's go back to G-Baby because, he's probably saving a little fire for the second half.
And I can't leave this podcast without giving all the love I have for my boy Cam Newton, man. Like, it's a disgrace, fellas. The way they did this, man. It is just, they committed murder, man. Cam Newton was a dream for real Carolina Panthers fans. I need you guys to listen to what the fuck I gotta say, man. Cam Newton, for me, gave me hope as a Carolina Panthers fan. In 2011, when we drafted Cam Newton, it almost felt like a dream. Like, damn, like we got the LeBron James of fucking football.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
the comparison.
Like this athletic monster. And it's been a dream having him as like our QB for the past decade. And now that dream has become a fucking nightmare. Like, it breaks my heart. These IG posts I'm watching of this motherfucker just killing it. Like, this man is healthy. Like, when you have a healthy Cam Newton, not only is he healthy, but you get Cam Newton. Whoever gets Cam Newton is going to get a motivated Cam Newton like never before. Like Cam Newton is about to set the fucking NFL on fire. Like, it's going to be...
We're going to be Charger fans next year.
God forbid. Like, if the Patriots get Cam, what they're going to now with all the moves the Buccaneers have made, like, my God, whoever gets Cam Newton, mark my word, Cam Newton will be the comeback player of the NFL this coming season. Put my fucking money on it, man. Doing my motherfucking boy like that, man. David Tepper, you fucking better
get your
pray
flip-flops.
God you don't find me in North Carolina. Because like I said before, motherfucker, I'm going to fuck your fucking wife before I fuck
her. G-Baby! Boom, boom, boom!
Oh, one more.
Look, he comes back for a third and a fourth time, G-Baby. G-Baby.
We're about to get a cease and desist.
He pulled a straight Robbie Anderson on him. He said, if I find you, David Tepper, I'm going to take your wife in her eye.
I mean, hey, man, G-Baby has been one of Cam Newton's biggest defenders on our show. I mean, listen, the only reason that we're not still talking about it is because it would be a bad look if we did nothing but talk about a player who isn't on our team anymore going forward. So we understand, man. We understand, but I mean, I don't know. As much as I hate it, we're moving forward, man. Nothing else you can do, man. Nothing else
I
you can
saw Shaked is in the chat room. He said, "Hey guys, what do you think of trading a second-round pick for Jamal Adams?" I'm going to tell you this. There's no need to pay a safety that amount of money in a rebuild era. And despite our need for help, and he is a great player, he wants top tier money. And obviously the Jets are not willing to give him that dollar. Now, maybe call the Redskins up in their previous regime and they'd pay you. But given the Panthers and their history of not having safeties, I cannot imagine us doing that in a time where he wants to get nitty-gritty with a contract. So, yes, for a straight up in the second in that world, I would love to have him and a bag of Doritos all day long. But the money part complicates these trade parts, and I think that actually might have been the real genius behind G-Baby's call is referencing now is that, hey, Gronk is off the books for the Patriots. When they retire, you got that dead money, but guess who's got it now? The Buccaneers got it. And that actually does open the purse a little bit for the Patriots.
Yeah, but I mean, remember, Tampa Bay knows that they have a small window right now.
Yeah. For Tampa, who cares? They're going to pay it, but yeah, exactly.
Fine. Right now, your objective is to do everything in your power to win football games in the next 2 seasons, and they have the pieces to do. If I was them, I would do nothing but draft offensive linemen. Just fill that offensive line up, and I have no doubt if people are going to start calling them early favorites to win the division.
While I agree with you on that because they're loading up a team, they're going to do that. They said the same thing for the Eagles a few years ago. They said the same thing for the Browns a few years ago. When have we ever seen a team they said is going to stack up to being hands down better than anybody else? A change from last to first.
What about the Broncos?
What about them?
I feel like the Broncos in the Peyton era pushed a lot of chips in. They signed who was that awesome receiver who he was good for a while, but then he had a bunch of drops.
Wes Walker,
Demarius Thomas. They had Demarius Thomas. They traded for Sanders. They had that was a year that they put together some pieces. I would argue. I don't know if you could say the Patriots were when they got Randy Moss because they got the Patriots did what the Patriots do and got Randy Moss for a 4th round pick or some crap like that. But you're right. The NBA is different. Is that because by adding one player to a team, you change the composition of the starting roster by 20% immediately. So it's a lot, you add 2 players and it's 40% of the roster. Well, if you add 2 players to 11, those numbers are different. So it is much more difficult and with the NFL and their salary cap to build a super team. We haven't seen it as much, but maybe you could argue that the Chiefs have kind of done it a little bit. I feel like they are always stacking talent on it. The Rams.
The Chiefs have loaded up. The Rams loaded up. The Bears loaded up.
Don't say the Rams loaded up.
Yeah, they did. They did. They got Aaron Donald. They go and get the who was the guy
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
And what did they do?
They got to a Super Bowl.
But they got to the Super Bowl.
And the NFC Championship, right?
Scored 3 points. And then sold all their players they couldn't afford anymore.
Right, they didn't capitalize on their window.
The Saints have done it.
That means the window's 1 year. They won the Super Bowl 1 year, and then did not dominate the rest of the time they've been a team the way they are. They have not dominated.
How about this?
1 year.
Name the team that has grown organically though. And I don't think they exist. I think that the teams that have done well they've always had some sort of aggressive addition though. The 49ers did it. That what you see is that what it takes to win a championship takes it's like a perfect storm. You have to have a perfect draft. You have to have no injuries. You have to have no this. But you also have to be bold. Every team has some important acquisitions in that quest. And I would argue that Jared Allen was a pivotal acquisition in the Panthers year that they went to the Super Bowl. I think you could be handcuffed by caution just as much as you could be reckless with aggression.
You're absolutely right, and you got to look at it the way the owners have to look at it, and the managers have to look at it. Is there's no real way to know if you're right. Like, look at the Panther season; they went 15-1. Okay, you could have easily gone 19-0, won the Super Bowl. 19-0 Super Bowl.
Well, obviously it wasn't easy, or else we would have done it.
But you could have easily gone 14-3 or 14-3.
What does this got to do with it? I'm not following.
I'm just saying there is luck that has to do with luck.
Sure. But isn't some of that luck in like adding an important piece to the team rather than pulling the old Dave Gettleman that says the answer's on the roster? You can be reckless in free agency, but you can also be oblivious that your team has needs.
And listen, the Rams for those 2 years, they made it to the playoffs, and they were one of the best teams in the NFC in 2018. And they went to 17 rather. Then in 2018, they went to the Super Bowl. So the luck pendulum didn't swing their way. But for that short period of time, if you add a bunch of good players that are determined and want to go play, and you have a good head coach and a good quarterback, then you're trying to capitalize on a short window of time. The Rams almost did, but that's what Tampa Bay is trying to do right now. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed to work, because nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. The Panthers could have been 3 games worse than they were in 2015.
But what if the Panthers recognized in week 8 that they needed another offensive tackle of 2015? And imagine if they would have traded away a future pick for a left tackle on some team that, like Cincinnati with Whitworth. Whitworth, is that what his name is?
Yeah.
What that pulling the trigger would have done for that moment. I'm not saying that we need to go crazy and overreact, but it does require. I think there is a timidity that could be problematic if you're a GM, and I think that that's some of the concern that surrounded Dave Gettleman was this just keep doing what we're going to do and it's going to work one day. When you saw that there were real deficiencies. So that's how I feel about it.
Let me ask the 3 of you guys, and I want to know, do you believe that there is a model where you can have a 20-year franchise that's successful like the Patriots just did with
you get the best quarterback of all time. There's the model.
Well, or do you believe that the best model to go after is give yourself a 2-year window, get a quarterback, get everything right, low salary cap, like kind of what it looks like we're shooting for? Do you think that is the best model, or do you think the best model is to go after a 20-year? I mean, obviously,
it's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle.
I think it's what we're doing right now. I think the best way to have your window be the widest it possibly can is to not have to pay your quarterback until his rookie contract, and you need to pay him, right? Okay. And so what you need to do,
quarterback is the best idea.
You need to build. I mean, I'm not saying it's not the best idea. I think that, especially an early quarterback, you need to be able to build the team and then get the quarterback. Right.
Okay.
You need to have you see that happen with the Colts. You see that happen. They tried to do that with Andrew Luck, but when the year that he went down, that year they decided to have that draft be built to make sure they protect him. And so you saw them really focus on their offensive line. You saw that happen down in Dallas. You know, they focused on making sure they're building their team and then putting their quarterback in that situation. You know, I'm not saying that was their focus, but it ended up working out that way for them with Dak Prescott. And now they're running into the situation where they're trying to pay everyone and they can't. You know, they're trying to be able to. Dak wants his money, regardless of whether or not he can stay in Dallas or not, asking that type of money. But at the same time, wanting to be on a winning football team. It's so hard to do that nowadays with the money these players are demanding.
There has to be a happy medium between this is sacrificing the now for the future and sacrificing the future for the now. There has to be a medium between that, and you have to recognize that here, look, is that the Carolina Panthers missed their window, to be honest now, right? I mean, think about it, is that you had one of the best defensive players in the league. You had one of the best offensive players in the league. You had these linchpins that you built around. Now that window is gone. Now, I'm not saying we should have done more, this and that, and like I'm not trying to play hindsight armchair quarterback or whatever. 2020, you know, hindsight is 2020. But my point is this: is that you can't be foolish and believe that the window is always closing or always opening. You have to recognize at that moment you might have something special, and it's time to push your chips in.
Okay. So it's like poker. You don't want to play every season like you are going to win the Super Bowl.
Correct.
But you know when you're on a high, you need to ride that high and win some money.
Again,
okay?
So my opinion right now on the Carolina Panthers, and I know people disagree with this, but I'm just calling what I see. I do not think the Carolina Panthers are a team that's very interested in being a competitive football team in 2020. I don't. But everything that they're doing, from the Matt Rule contract to Joe Brady being a young dude, 30 years old, to Christian McCaffrey, it's all signs of the Panthers are interested in rebuilding this football team, and they're okay if it takes a year or two to do that. Now, I don't think it should take too long, but as of right now, yeah, I'm not, that's why I turned down O.J. Howard in your scenario of taking him at 2. Right now, just take the best players available to you, build up your football team, have some centerpiece players on your defense and your offense to be able to build around. So that way, when you do find the quarterback that you're in love with, be it Bridgewater or someone else, whoever, you have a team around them where you're able to capitalize on that window like we were not able to do with Cam and Luke.
Jarrell Strickland in the chat room says, if this is the case, why pay Teddy or trade for Okung? I want to take this first. One, I think with Okung is that you bring in a guy who's on a 1-year deal. You have a definitive amount of money you have to pay. Obviously, he does not hold the leverage coming off an injury to sit out or do anything like that. So you have an exact amount of money that allocated to that position for an exact amount of time. So I think Okung adds to your line now and makes it potentially serviceable, right? And arguably is that Teddy Bridgewater, you just paid him what is like a league minimum for a starting quarterback at this point. So I don't think either of those numbers suggest that. What I think they say is that we hope we can put together a team that is respectable, and we're not just shitting the bed entirely.
Mm-hmm. Well, Teddy Bridgewater is our Alex Smith. That's what it seems like it is to me, the situation they're going with.
Are we the Redskins or the Chiefs, though? That's where the Alex Smith question is so different, right? Is that you hope we're the Chiefs, not the Redskins.
Well, yeah, but Alex Smith's tenure in the Redskins was because of an injury, right? He broke his leg.
Lost. Which he almost lost his leg, by the way.
That's a little different, yeah. So, I think that if he'd played the full season out with the Redskins, the story could have changed. It may not have. But I mean, there's always the narrative in there that it might have changed. So I don't know, but that's kind of how I look at Teddy Bridgewater right now. Is our Alex Smith, like that's the guy that is not there, but maybe in the right situation could be that guy. And he's going to bridge our next quarterback into where we're going. And the thing is, we don't have to draft a quarterback in the first round, you know? So there's a lot of things that go on.
Yeah, I think that's important too. All right, let's keep going with the calls. Let's see. I'm going to skip G Baby second and fourth call because he got hot at the end.
Hey, what's up, C3 Podcast? It's Lovato from OKC. I just wanted to talk about the draft.
What's up, Tyler?
I've been talking to Cody lately, but I just want to tell you guys what I think.
Tony, put up his picture.
Oh yeah, hold on, pause it for
My
a
dream
sec.
is.
Pause it. So he messaged me this. Go into our Twitter DMs. Is there anybody that you can grab that image that I sent you and put it up? Yeah, it's just an image. He shared this with me in a direct message, and he said he mentioned it.
All right, well, stall. Do this.
But go ahead and play the call, and then we'll throw it up.
So I think unless Isaiah Simmons or Jeffrey Okudah is there at 7, we trade back. I don't care where to. Try to get compensation for next year for Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully trade back into Kinlaw. That'd be nice. Or C.J. Henderson, but
yeah.
If Isaiah Simmons and Jeffrey Okudah is gone, I'm going to be sad. But that's it for the draft. But I want to tell you guys a funny story. And it's a nice uptick. And I might have got myself because about 3 years ago after Steve Smith retired, I went to the tattoo shop and I got a Steve Smith tattoo. And it was a picture of him praying he was praying in a Ravens jersey. He's sitting on the bench for his last game. He was praying before the game started. And I got that tatted on my arm. And I told him to just black out the jersey, make it all black, and take off the Ravens name tag on the jersey. And he did. And then about a year later, I realized the numbers for the Ravens jersey and the Panthers jersey are completely different. So it looks so fucking stupid now, but that's it, guys.
Where is...
I'm out.
Hold on. I gotta just... 42120 show. Oh, it's because it put this stupid tag on it. Let me see if I can rename the file.
So he sent me this in a DM. Tony will put it up when it's available. But yeah, man, I think that right now what we're hearing from everybody is, pretty much Isaiah Simmons and Jeffrey Okudah. That's pretty much how I feel. That's what I would want us to do. Fill some positions of need, but I don't know, man. I'm hesitant to get my hopes up because every time I get my hopes up about drafting a specific player, it almost never happens. So I'm trying not to be the jinx myself. But hell, you already know who I want, so I've already fucking jinxed
I have the image up. I'm gonna play the last part of the call again because I want to hear.
Take off the Ravens name tag on the jersey. Take off the Ravens name tag on the jersey, and he did. And then about a year later, I realized the numbers for the Ravens jersey and the Panthers jersey are completely different. So it looks so fucking stupid now, but that's it, guys. So,
oh, that's not even that bad. Because the numbers being the shape of the numbers, at least it was 89. At least it wasn't like it was like 4.
Right.
Yeah. I told him I didn't think it was that bad. At the end of the day, you still have Steve Smith on your arm, you know? So, but yeah.
Dude, you want to feel better about it? I have my name tattooed on my leg from a lost bet that I made in college that I did myself. So feel better about
yourself.
I'll always be with myself, and I'll always know my name. Okay?
And your penmanship will always be awful.
Well, actually, the first night I was really drunk, so it's really bad. The second day was really good. So, but either way, feel
How
better
do you give
about
yourself
that, okay?
a tattoo? Did you give it like one of those people in like Taiwan with the ting 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 thing?
No, I made a bet that I couldn't make a tattoo gun, and I did. And
oh
and I won the
God,
bet,
this sounds like losing a leg
but I really
bet.
lost.
Yeah,
I won the bet, but I really lost.
That's
So,
kind of weird. I also have your name tattooed on my leg, man. Small,
It was crazy.
small world, dude. Who would have guessed?
Well, at least you don't have my name tattooed on your back. Hey,
I mean,
you
you don't know
you don't know that.
I didn't
Right.
know
All
I
right.
don't, Tony.
Next call. I bet you this is Lovato coming.
A little bit lower.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Lovato from OKC. Sorry I rushed through that last call. I was talking fast because I thought I was going to get cut off, but I got more questions for Cody.
What's up?
Cody, do you have any fascination with the linebacker Troy Dye from Oregon? Because every time I'm always checking out your mock drafts on DraftTech.com, and it seems like every damn week in the third round you have us taking Troy Dye out of Oregon. And I've looked at his tape, and I'm not very impressed. And I think there's a guy
He calling you out. He got your phone
Jr.
number.
from Mississippi State. This dude at the combine lit it up. He had one of the best athletic grades at the combine. He's fast. He can do coverage. I don't even think he's going to last to the third round, to be honest. But you guys are sleeping on this man, especially in your mock draft. You have him going in like the 4th or 5th round. That's a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you hear the name, Cody? Or was I talk? No, the guy from Mississippi State.
Yeah, Junior.
Oh yeah. All right, you got it.
Yeah, I mean, no, both of them are very talented prospects. I think Troy Dye, when you watch his film, he's a better reader of where the play is about to go, and I think he's a better hitter. Whereas Willie Gay Jr., he blew up the combine, but you didn't see a ton from him on film, I find. He's very fast, he's very athletic, but he's raw, and he needs to build up a little bit better. But before the start of last season, everyone had Dye as one of the top 2 linebackers coming out in this year's draft. He had some injuries that kind of set him back, and that's why he's fallen down the list. But yeah, especially if we don't draft Isaiah Simmons, filling in with the linebacker in the 3rd or 4th round. Yeah, I mean, that Troy Dye, Williams Gaither from Appalachian State is another one to look out for. If it trade down, Kenneth Murray and Patrick Queen would be another scenario there. I don't like them at 7, but trading down, yeah, that'd be perfect for us. So yeah, man, I like that. He's at least telling me that he's looking at all the picks.
He's watching the patterns, bro. He's watching the patterns. He's got more questions, dude. There's more to the call.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Last, I was talking about Jeffrey Okudah and Isaiah Simmons.
Yep.
And I just want to, I've looked at all the tape on every top, probably like 13, 14 corners in this draft. And I've looked at every single snap for every game this year. And none of them come close to Jeffrey Okudah, not even C.J. Henderson. I don't know what's all the hype is on C.J. Henderson.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he ran a 4.39 at the combine doesn't mean he should be a top 10 pick. Jeffrey Okudah is far and beyond the best corner in this class. I would actually, as hard as it is to say, I think I would take him, Jeffrey Okudah, over Isaiah Simmons, even though I think Isaiah Simmons can become you know what I think Isaiah Simmons can become? He reminds me of, if he plays safety, I think he can have a Sean Taylor type impact. Rest in peace, Sean Taylor.
Oh, good player
comp. They're going to use him at safety. I think they're going to try to put him at outside linebacker. I think he'll have a great career at outside linebacker.
Which he could be like Lawrence Taylor,
then. I
then.
could see him being a Sean Taylor type safety. But
how about those player comps?
Yeah, that's all I want to say, guys.
This is where I think that we could sneakily be surprised by the Giants. Is imagine the next Lawrence Taylor on a team where Dave Gettleman is always scared to do what he's probably supposed to do, which is just take an offensive lineman and move on. You know, I don't know. Is that if Isaiah Simmons is as good as advertised, I'd be surprised if he's there at 7.
I mean, it just the quarterbacks is what is always the wild card. I mean, we just don't know. I mean, if Joe Burrow,
how does a defensive coach like Patricia pass on that? I mean, he's going to pass for Okuda.
You know how? And there's even rumors of it on the internet that certain executives are saying he's the most overrated player in the draft. Dude, it's that old school 1960s mentality where there's so much potential for what Isaiah Simmons could be in the NFL, to be a player unlike anything that anyone has ever seen before. But right now, you have that hesitancy because players have been drafted in the past that, they didn't have a primary position. And if they don't have a primary position, then where are they going to play in the NFL? And that's going to turn teams off. And I hope that it happens because they're all morons, dude. They're morons. Isaiah Simmons is the perfect weapon for players like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, even Cam Newton, because we're going to have to play the Chargers this year if Cam does sign for them. I mean, come on, man. We're living in the age of the mobile quarterback. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert is going to be another one. And all of these running backs are getting paid top dollar. You have to have a player that will shut down the first and second level. And that's what Isaiah Simmons is. So in order for him to fall, your quarterbacks have to go first.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with what he said about Okuda, though. He's the best corner that I've ever seen on film.
Let me ask you guys quick look at this. Is that where are the prop bets for the NFL draft? All right, here we go. Right now, the first prop bet that on this card site that I play on, we have a sports bookie too. Oh, by the way, you mentioned cards earlier today, Greg. I have been stupid in this quarantine and put money on on playing poker. I always lose money at poker my whole life, I guess. Today, I did not make any money. But in one hand where I could not lure anybody in, I actually hit a straight flush. 4 through 8 hearts.
Nice.
Crazy. Yeah, I took a picture of it. But according to their site right here is right now, the question is who goes first? Offensive players, not who are more in the first round, offense or defense? Right now, if you bet defense, you make plus money. If you bet offense, you don't make money on your bet. You know what I'm saying? So you say you bet $10, you might win $3.
Yeah.
Defensive players, they think that this is going to be the over-under essentially is 16 offensive players. Cody, more offense or more defense?
I think offense. I mean, when you look at the receivers, dude, they're saying there might be 7 or 8 offensive tackles drafted in the first round alone.
How are the Panthers not getting 2 of them? Right?
Well, my question is, if you look at those numbers, if it's over under is 16 for offensive players and there's 32 teams, then shouldn't it be a push?
No, but is that because it's not just an even bet. So if you bet, right now here, I'll show you exactly. If you bet right now, $10 on offensive players being more than defensive players, you would win $3.39. You would make $3.39. Okay. But if you were to then bet $10 on defensive players, you would over double your money. You would make $22.50. So they are saying that the odds are it's heavily favored that offense takes the day. So here is the first round picks when it comes to offensive and defensive line, Cody. Right now, if you bet It is minus 360. You will make a lot less money if you bet offensive line. You bet $10 on the offensive line, more offensive linemen than defensive line. You only make $2.86 on the current odds. But if you were to bet $10 on the defensive line, you would over. It's even better than the former odds. You would make $26.10.
Wow.
Where do you see this? Could this be a sneaky draft for defensive linemen, or is this offensive linemen, corners, and wide receivers? How are all of these players getting picked? 4 quarterbacks, all of these corners, all of these receivers. Where is the value here? Is it in defensive line? It doesn't seem like it according to Vegas.
So one of the things that you have to think of is every year there's always a team that values a player way higher than they should be. I mean, way higher. I forget. It was last year, the year before. The Seattle Seahawks took an edge rusher out of TCU in the first round, and I forget his name. I knew it at the time, but I forget it right now. And it was such a reach. The Houston Texans taking Titus Howard in the first round. It's like there's no way to know.
By the way, someone in the comments brought up when we were talking about Clemson players not being in the NFL, they did bring up Kevin Dodds. Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Everybody was so high on that mug. I even made a graphic for him back when we were doing draft guides. He ain't done shit.
Yeah, Kevin Dodds, Shaq Lawson. Hey, man, Clemson's put the...
Shaq Lawson made money, though, right? Shaq Lawson be getting paid.
Shaq Lawson. I mean, they've both kind of underperformed. Vic Beasley was a one-year wonder. Grady Jarrett was a third-round pick, but he ended up being good for the Falcons. Dexter Lawrence was good last year for the Giants. You can't sell the ship on Cleveland Farrell and Christian Wilkins yet. So, man, you don't draft the helmet. That's not how you do this, man. You don't.
What? You don't do that?
No, man.
Then why on Vegas right now? Why, when I look at these draft bets, can you bet on this? And I want your answer to this one. More Clemson players or Oklahoma players in the first round? I think that's an awesome question right there. Let me see who the Oklahoma prospects.
So the Oklahoma prospects are CeeDee Lamb, Kenneth Murray, Neville Gallimore.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. And Jalen Hurts. So I would say.
So who do you got? You got Isaiah Simmons.
You have AJ Terrell. You have T. Higgins, the wide receiver, who could probably sneak in the first round. Oh man, I'll say Clemson because I think Neville Gallimore probably slips to the second round. Although I do love his hand placement.
You won't make money if you put it on. Right now, Clemson is favored. Clemson is favored by a significant amount of money.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh no, wait. And Oklahoma is where you would make their money if somehow. What would happen is CeeDee Lamb, Kenneth Murray would have to jump up in there. Neville would have to climb. If he does, that makes that bet interesting.
Dude, I don't remember the numbers, but the amount of money that you could win if you bet on the Cincinnati Bengals not drafting Joe Burrow and it actually happening would be it's like an astronomical number. You would make so much money.
I'm looking it up
if it happened. But
how about this? Is what is the over under for linebackers drafted in the first round? Right now they have it set at 3.5. Do you take the over or the under? 3 linebackers or 4?
I would take the under. Yeah, I'd take the under. But
How about
I do
quarterbacks? The number right now for quarterbacks is 4.5.
Yeah, I'd say 4. So what? That's the under. Yeah, I mean it's just.
If you bet the under right now, say you did $10 on the under, you would make 91 cents. Oh my gosh. You ain't making no money. How about this is, all right, here's the next one. This is another good one. What about the running backs, 1.5?
I bet the under.
All right, so if you did $10 on the under, ooh, wait, hold on. Really? Oh, wait, this is parlay. I'm parlaying shit right now by accident. Hold on, the last figure might not have been right in the last one. You make $1. So they think no running backs. Is there any value in running backs? We have not heard. You know, one of the things that's interesting me to the draft, I'll turn the mic to CK and some of the other guys here, is that you see the ebbs and flows of the draft. And I know that everybody talks about the new NFL and this and that, but just a few years ago, the running backs were making a comeback in round 1. This year, I don't know who it's going to be. We saw wide receivers make, is that there's always a certain feel to the draft. CK, do you think that there's going to be a feel to this top 10? I mean, I know this is kind of like one of those, what kind of question? What am I supposed to say? Is no, they're going to mix it up. Is this top 10 locked, though? Sure feels like it from what everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I mean that's that. I mean, like I said, beyond the possible slips that we already know about, like the two possibility of slipping outside of the top 10 somehow, way, shape, or form. Those ones that have a lot of question marks behind them. I think other than that, I think it's a pretty good lock. I mean, Joe Burrow, Young, you have. Isaiah Simmons, Okuda, Herbert, and if you want to put Tua into that conversation, I mean, just
really, Tua might be the only wild card in there.
That's what my feeling is that he's the only wild card.
Unless people say Herbert is just like awesome.
I don't know if top 10 is locked, but I can tell you probably for sure maybe top 7 are locked.
Yeah. It's supposed to be so exciting, but it sounds so boring.
I don't know, man, dude. I'm hearing real rumors.
You told me it's all lies, though. You told me it's all lies.
I've heard from too many people on well-respected people on Twitter that report rumors that many teams are very high on CJ Henderson.
Holy shit! Listen to this.
High.
Total players drafted from LSU in round 1 over under is 5.5. If 6 how could 6 players honestly be drafted from their team? If you did that.
Did you see what that team did?
Yeah, but that's just 1 year, man.
Who are they?
That doesn't matter.
The same for Alabama. The same. It's 5.5 for Alabama too, but the odds are not the same. Hold on, let me find this again.
Well, see, I agree with CK though. I think that the top 7 maybe are locked, but I don't think the order is locked. Yeah. I think that the top 7 players in the NFL or in the draft are the guys we've been talking about, but I don't think they're necessarily locked in the positions that we have them in, or maybe they are. I'm not sure.
Give me 6 players that come from LSU, Cody. Because if you win that and you bet $10, you triple your money.
Yeah, this is the entire draft, or
no? Not round 1.
Top 6, right?
It's in round 1. So
round 1. So if you took the under, all right. So here, okay, go ahead.
Joe Burrow, Patrick Queen, Christian Fulton, Lloyd Cushenberry, Justin Jefferson, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But that's
yeah.
You're not having all those players in the first round.
Yeah.
Here are the odds right now. If you bet $10 that they're gonna go under 5.5. So if you win it and they get 5 players drafted, like that's your worst case scenario, right? In that moment, you only walk away with $2.27. That to me is insane that the number is that high and the odds are, is that you triple your money if there's 6. Why would you? So I guess maybe it's a deadlock that there won't be 6, but damn, LSU is locked and loaded, brother, or was.
And oh yeah, dude. No, you know what? Shout out to the chat room. Grant Delpit, Clavon Chazon. I don't know how I missed those dudes. Yeah, so it probably will be over 6
in the first round.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even. I mean, all right. So
first round. Tell me, because I want to put $10 on that.
Joe Burrow.
One.
So Joe Burrow, Grant Delpit, Clavon Chazon.
Are these all first rounders?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah. Clavon Chazon, the edge rusher, Grant Delpit, the safety, Joe Burrow, quarterback, Lloyd Cushenberry might sneak into the first round.
I don't think
Justin Jefferson did himself a lot of favors, had an incredible amount of yards, like 14 touchdowns, ran a 4.4. So,
LSU is 20% of the first round.
Christian Fulton. Did I say that one? Oh, and Patrick Quinn. So yeah, probably 5, maybe 6. I'd say comfortably 5.
Wow. Put your money on the 6 and make a little
amount of
bread.
I mean, think about this. I mean, I bet you, Cody, I'm not going to tell you to go back and do this, but think about how many players are going to be drafted from LSU, period.
Oh, God. Yeah. Now we're talking about 12.
I mean, probably 8 or 9.
I mean, I know you're going to add Moss to that list. I mean, there's
Thad Moss, Edwards-Helaire, the other guard who escapes me right now. Just later on in the draft. Yeah.
You think Cushenberry is going to make the first round?
He might. I mean, dude, players. There are offensive linemen some years that I think are 3rd round players that most of the draft community online have ranked low, and then they'll go in the first round. So yeah, Cushenberry has incredibly long arms, and that's what you want in a guard. And he's powerful, strong. It was a part of the best offensive line in college football last year, or one of the best. They won the best offensive line award. So, yeah, he could absolutely be there, being the first.
All right, last question of the night, because I mean I think we've exhausted about this podcast as much as we can. I thought at 9:58 I was like, man, we're really gonna get out of here at a reasonable time.
We'd start talking.
I don't know why you ever think that.
My last question is this: what is the worst case scenario on Thursday night for the Carolina Panthers? What is the thing that happens that drives you, that says this ruins it all? For me, it is taking a wide receiver or taking C.J. Henderson over Okudah. Both of those things happen. I'm done. Well, I'm not done. But
yeah,
God, that's the doomsday scenario for me.
If both of those happen, or how about this? If we take a wide receiver at number 7 with all the amount of problems on our defense, can we admit that we're tanking for Trevor at that point in time?
Well,
I mean, come on, with a receiver first round when you don't need one.
Yeah,
there's something I wanted to ask, and maybe before the draft and then after the draft, because our opinions may change. I was just thinking about this. What do you guys believe our record is going to be next year?
I think we win 6 games.
Who do we win? Because
I don't know.
Right now,
I don't know. I think we win games we're not supposed to win.
Here's the thing. So, would you say that we're going to lose every one of our NFC South games?
No. If we do, then we might as well fire this motherfucker from the beginning.
Who are we beating?
So here's the thing: you got to think about our away
We beat
games
the Saints one time. We beat the Bucs. We beat. I think we stunned the Bucs. Fuck that. We stunned the Bucs.
So
before this Super Tampa team.
Can we talk about how it's possible we do go into a very horrible season record?
How are we going to deal with that on this podcast if we don't win a game?
It's going to be.
I don't even own a gun, let alone enough guns to necessitate a rack.
That'd be terrible.
I personally think
I did earn one gun, which I've never fired.
Somewhere between 3 and 5. Somewhere between 3 and 5.
I can see that, but I could see a situation where we completely tank, and I'm going to tell you why. So our away games are obviously our regular away games: Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa. You have the Green Bay Packers, loss.
Tough.
Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, these are away games, by the way.
Oh Lord.
Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers. Minnesota
Maybe
Vikings.
we might win that. The Chargers ain't.
Their defense
wait! I was thinking the Rams. I was
No.
thinking the Rams. My bad.
Yep. Minnesota Vikings.
Tough.
Yep. New Orleans Saints, obviously. Tampa Bay.
But
Washington
the Vikings are
Redskins
not
probably
the same.
only-
We can win the Vikings game. We can win the Vikings game.
I don't know, man. They're making moves, and we'll see.
Nah,
what makes-
Diggs
what
is gone. They lost Linville Joseph. They
And these
do
are all
have.
But
These are away
making a
games.
good argument that we could lose every game. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You're saying.
We could lose every one of those games. We do play Washington, which, depending upon what ends up happening,
I think we have a better chance against the Vikings than we do against the Redskins, to be honest.
I disagree with that. I think.
Well, I will say this: if the Redskins do take Chase Young,
They have like the best defensive line in the whole damn NFL instantly.
retarded.
And then we switch to our home. This might be the best year to be a season.
Let's figure out what game are we gonna go to.
So here's the thing. So
All
we
right.
have our normal.
Let's
we're not
figure
gonna,
it out.
I'm of the mindset we're not winning any NFC South. So I think we already have.
We got to go to one game though. We got to go to one game.
So let's say 5. We win one of those against maybe the Falcons. And then we have the Chicago Bears, who have the potential to be good depending upon what they do, in the draft. Detroit Lions. I think it's an interesting thing. I think that is our home games are the easiest out of.
Who else we got?
We have the Lions, the Bears, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Cardinals.
Lions, Bears, Broncos, Raiders, Cardinals.
Yeah.
Arguably, we might be able to beat the. I think the Raiders we're a pick 'em with. I think the only. Do we play the Lions? You said the Lions, right? I think that's the only team we're favored against, which is strange.
The Lions, the Cardinals, and
we can beat the Cardinals. We can beat the Cardinals. I know they're getting good. They're getting real.
They got DeAndre Hopkins now.
I know.
They have.
I think we win the Minnesota game. I put my money. I'm ready to say Minnesota, and maybe and Las Vegas.
Knowing that we have a very high possibility.
Gosh, we are really going like. What's the over under then? If you're Vegas, I'm gonna look it up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we have a possibility of losing every one of our away games because our away schedule is tough. We play, to put it into perspective, we play away. We played the Packers, who were a playoff team, Kansas City Chiefs at their home, who were the Super Bowl champions. Minnesota Vikings were a playoff team. New Orleans Saints, playoff team. So 4 of our 8 away games are against people that were in the playoffs last year. Then we have Tampa Bay, who is making huge strides to a positive, I guess, movement this year. The Falcons, I think, with our moves, there is a possibility we get swept away completely.
What do you think the over under is? I'll open it up with Cody.
The over-under?
Yeah, what do you think after you heard what CK just outlined, what do you think if you're Vegas, you set the over-under for Panthers wins are? Because he's obviously trending to the negative side, which is 0. But give me your real number about what, if you were trying to be an odds maker, what it was.
A reasonable number, I'd say 5.
Ooh, it could be an odds maker almost. Greg?
I'd say 4.
CK?
I see a situation where we lose, we win 3 games.
Okay. The over-under is 5.5, and I'm ready to take the under all day on that.
Hey, man, yeah, I could.
I'd take the under, too.
I'm taking it sounds like we're all taking the under. And because when you say it all like that, look, I think Minnesota, I think they're a mess right now, to be honest.
But this is my thing. Will it be terrible to suffer through another season? Yes.
Yes.
But
we're becoming too accustomed to it. We're becoming too. That's where I'm getting irritated about, man.
My fear is we're going to be just like the Bucs, to where we will not be relevant for a decade.
Oh, don't say that.
I hear what you're saying. And listen,
don't worry, this podcast is prepared for it.
You all.
We have done it for the last decade. We can do it for the next decade.
Listen, if you want to say I'm a Clemson fanboy, dude, I don't give a shit. If it ends up in us drafting Trevor Lawrence, I promise you this shit is worth it. I'm telling you.
All right,
but if we don't,
you don't have to hear me. You don't have to agree with me now. Just know that if it happens, you will agree with me. Okay,
you will agree with me. Yeah. No, I will not agree with you until he wins. Because every time I look at that mofo, I look at that stupid kid from Dazed and Confused with his brow, where he is always clenching his nose and pulling his hair back behind his ears.
For him too, in no time, I promise.
Well, I can't wait. I cannot wait to be gay for another man other than Cam.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I cannot wait. I just don't feel like I'm that gay.
All
right. But I mean, for real, is like that. To be honest, I truly believe that's why I'm interested in Tua. Is because, and that really sounds really gay the way I said that. Is I feel like I'm losing my love with Cam Newton. And I just feel like I don't want to shit on Teddy Bridgewater, but I also don't want him to be the girl that I banged out over the weekend because I was sad that I lost my long lost love.
Yeah. Or you wake up next to her, you're like, oh shit, what did I do?
You don't want Teddy to be your rebound, basically.
Yeah, it's not about Teddy. It's about me.
So much of our
you know what I'm saying? Like, no hard feelings, Teddy. This is not about you, Teddy. This is about me. And I think Tua would have enough gravitas, I guess, or whatever, to fill the limelight. Or be a void if he just is injury prone as fuck. Ugh. All right, who cares? We've talked about it enough. Thursday night, we will be here for the C3 live draft party. And I want to point out this is that as you watch the networks and you watch TV and all the people who have assistants and makeup artists and this and that, struggle with the transition to video conferencing and broadcasting on the internet, the C3 Panthers podcast has been doing this shit since it came alive. When they let us stream live on Google Hangouts back in the day, before Streamlabs and OBS existed, we were up in that. We got up in it. We've been up in it. And this is our 8th live draft party. They have been sensationally fun, where we watched the first round of the NFL draft together with Panther fans and other analysts cycling in and out. We want you to be a part of it. We'll be playing your calls even 252-228-5098 on Thursday. And you get to see the live reactions. And you know what? They're the best. All you assholes that talk shit to me as I went crazy angry, not crazy good, but crazy angry when we picked Kelvin Benjamin in 2014 in our first NFL live C3 draft party. What do y'all bitches got to say now? I wanted Bradley Roby. I wanted Allen Robinson. Either one of those players would have been amazing. Last year we got to watch Daniel Jones be drafted, and it was glorious. It's a glorious moment. So hang out with us on Thursday night as we watch the draft unfold. Put your TV on, mute the sounds, and hang out with Cody as he relishes in his draft wisdom. Cody, I feel like we should ice some fools up.
Yeah, we should. I did have a Last Dance ice up that I wanted to do.
Nope, you're giving it to Greg.
I know, but if Greg hasn't seen it, I'm not gonna spoil it.
I recorded it. I did not watch it.
It's awesome. I love documentaries anyway.
Sure.
But
By the way, I watched the one on Wild Country.
Dude, all right. So, and
it's not the best documentary on. It's not as crazy. It is not as crazy as Don't Fuck with Cats. But I tell you this, yeah, I'm pretty sure is that one lady that lives off in sweet Switzerland. Don't fuck with that bitch.
No, hell no, definitely don't fuck with her.
And Cody, let me tell you, I think that based on what I hear you saying right now, you can go ahead and do your ice up pick for the Last Dance thing if you want to, because I think we're gonna have differing opinions. So, but good.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm in a rock and a hard.
Go with your pick. Go with your pick. Just go with it.
So listen, you
cannot sacrifice your pick to someone who ain't seen the show. Go.
It's about Scottie Pippen, and in the show, he's pretty much he held out for a little while because he was very, very underpaid,
and D.
Well, hold on, someone you're breaking up.
There goes your bandwidth.
I heard he had a giant D. He was with Carmen Electra at one point.
And we're back to the good shit, man. But no, man. Listen. So at the time that he signed a 7-year, $18 million contract, both that he agreed upon and his own agent agreed upon, the owner of the Bulls talked to him personally and told him that it was not a good deal. So in my mind, that's not on Jerry Krause. That's not on the Bulls. That's on that's on Pippen being a bad businessman and having an agent that didn't know the value of his player. So it's a very weird thing to ice up something that happened 23 years ago. But to Scottie Pippen and his agent, who were at that time complaining about it, I'd say ice up.
CK, you got anything to follow with that?
As far as an ice up, I'm kind of drawing a blank a little bit. I will say that I've heard that with this new documentary that the argument of Jordan versus LeBron James has been heavily tilted to Jordan's side.
Can I just say that no matter
somebody
what
ice up CK for not having an ice up.
Yeah, really ice up. But I will say this about Last Dance. I was born in 1990, so I grew up literally at the time where my youngest memories of watching basketball.
They were gone. You didn't see no Michael Jordan.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember
Well, I
watching
do.
The last three.
we
The
did.
first three.
Y'all don't remember. I can barely remember that shit.
You're not telling me what I remember, man.
Pistons, Lakers.
Dude, I
Oh
didn't
man,
give a damn
I'm so glad
about.
our
I
asset pick
didn't.
like a-
I didn't.
You
give a damn
remember
about
seeing
that.
Michael Jordan play Charles Barkley? It was the Suns versus the Bulls. I was pulling for the Suns. They had Kevin Johnson. They had Dan the Man Marley, the white boy knocking down threes. Dan Marley was the Steph Curry of the 90s.
The point being, if you were born in the 90s, you knew the name Michael Jordan.
Also, Kevin Johnson from the Phoenix Suns, I believe, was like the mayor of LA or Phoenix, one of the two.
But I said all that to say this. It serves as a reminder for how once in a lifetime of a player Michael Jordan was.
Yes.
There has never been.
He's a goat. He's a goat.
There has never ever been another.
I don't know. We also didn't get to see like Wilt Chamberlain play.
Okay.
I don't know. I agree with you. I would say Michael Jordan is the GOAT. I've heard his agent talking about this, is that he would win in any era. Like,
okay, listen. Greg is chomping at the bit to play.
Come on, Greg. Get your ice up in. Come on, go on.
I have been arguing Michael Jordan versus LeBron James all
If you take
day.
LeBron James over Michael Jordan, you weak sauce.
No, it's not weak sauce. Let me tell you something. I've been fortunate enough to live in the era to watch Michael Jordan in his prime and LeBron James in his prime. Okay. Now, I want to start off by saying I 100% agree that those two guys, no matter what you think, are number one and number two. However you order them, the best players to ever live. LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Okay. I personally feel it's LeBron James. Now, I'm a Carolina fan, so that like, you know, of course, Jordan to Carolina, like, but I want to ice up people who have never known anything about this, that are watching this documentary and are all of a sudden making their decision, because to me it's a big deal who is the GOAT. Okay. I promise you, if you take any NBA player and put together all their highlights and do all the background stuff of what's going on with their life in this game, like they did with Jordan in this, you're going to think this player is a great player. It's what these entertainment centers do. So I don't want to say don't fall for this, because I do love Jordan. I think Jordan's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. In my opinion, second greatest player ever. But don't judge who the best player is based on this documentary. And I've seen it too much in the last few days, and you've only seen 2 hours of the documentary. So ice up to everybody who thinks that after 2 hours of watching this documentary that Michael Jordan is the best player ever. He may be. I could be wrong. He may be. He's definitely one or two. But if you're basing it on just this documentary, eyes up.
All right.
Shout out to
hit
Chef.
him up.
Yeah, shout out to Chef Jeff for the 420 love bomb in the chat. Ice up anyone who thinks LeBron is better than MJ.
All right. So here's the other thing is
I go by stats.
In relation to 420, today is 421. I would say my social media was less flooded than ever with 420 drops.
Nobody can get out there. Nobody wants that Rona infested weed.
No, I have a theory that everybody has just been high the whole time, and so 420 is like, we've been high this whole quarantine. Whatever.
2020.
This is just 2020. 420 just means all of 2020, I guess. No, I was wondering about that the other day, because I have 6,000 followers on Twitter, 7,000, whatever it is. And usually on 420, shit gets flooded. I ain't seen nothing about it. So I think that everybody has been staying at home, taking care of their heads in that way. Let me get up
and sitting at home with nothing else to do and you're not smoking pot, what are you doing with your life?
I'm not.
But you have nothing to do.
I have a lot of shit to do, but I also
So
am on
that's
the internet
the point.
right now.
That's the difference.
All right, so my ice up pick goes to this. Is that other than Shawcat? How about this? Is Shawcat just sent somebody put out a tweet that said, "So who's having a Zoom party on draft night?" Shawcat hit the man up and said that we're doing our live party, and that also that the people from WFNZ are going to be doing a Zoom draft party until Panthers pick. This is a perfect segue into my shit right here. First of all, is that by the way, this is my response to that tweet. I said, yo, we doing our 8th live draft party. Everybody talking about flattening that curve. We are the curve. All right, so here's the deal. This is what I gotta say is my ice up pick. I have it written down here. Is I'm icing up Cisco Web Systems. I'm icing up Google Meet. I'm icing up Microsoft Skype, and I'm icing up any other video conferencing software that has missed this moment in this world and allowed Zoom to be this one date that everybody has to take to the dance. I do not understand how Zoom has been such a integral part to there's been other video conferencing softwares out there, and I ice up those companies for not making more of their moment and allowing Zoom to just dominate this to where random folks are picking this up. Look, we've been doing this shit forever. We use Google Hangouts. We use Skype. We use, what was the other one that we love a lot, Cody?
Shindig.
That always fucks up, Shindig. But here's the thing.
Damn you, Shindig.
How are these assholes not making more of this moment? How has Zoom become such a cultural phenomenon? I ice up those video conferencing softwares. And CK, you watch a little stocks. Cisco stock has done jack shit for the last 8 years, and because they lived off the laurels of the late 90s and early 2000s, how is Cisco not using this opportunity with the most secure and effective video conferencing software that nobody can afford and WebEx to get ahead? My ice up pick goes to all those fools. Zoom, it ain't even that cool, yo. Ice up.
Ice up.
Man. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm starting to, I'm getting a little frustrated because everybody now is doing these draft. Like the Roaring Riot has got theirs. That they're going to be doing. The Panthers have now said they're going to be doing a draft lounge.
Assholes, you are copying our shit, man. And not only are you copying it, you should bring us in as consultants. That's what you should have done.
It should have. If you want it to be a party, well, guess what? You should actually get everybody who was a part of Panthers media into a party, right?
Yeah.
Together. Like, don't.
And unless those assholes fall asleep at 28th pick, they ain't doing that right.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I think we can get some people in. I think it's pretty, with what you're talking about, getting people in that are from different teams and whatnot for that pick. I think that's going to be something that can draw some viewers in and being able to
y'all hit me up. Yeah, y'all hit me up at @cat_chronicles. Send me a message. We'll get you on the show. The cat
get somebody if you know somebody who would be good, or who
we need a Dolphins guy. That's the one thing I don't have. I've been looking for. I need a Dolphins person because I feel like the Dolphins are at a integral. They're like a pivot point. I feel like the Lions are a pivot point. I feel like the Dolphins are a pivot point. And those are all very important leading up to the Carolina Panthers pick. All right.
They have to be earlier. But
all right, let's get out of here. What you got?
Yeah, let's do it. No, I was just gonna say, you can hit up Tony if you want to get on the show. You can also hit me up too, at Cody Lack, and I'll keep an inventory of of people that want to
hit
get
Cody
on the
up,
show.
actually, at Cody Lack.
Oh, yeah, now you want to do it. Yeah, I'm down for it. Hey, if you want to be on the show, if you want to come and hang out with us, dude, Nova Black announced the pick from the Panthers stadium
that
year.
was the dopest
That was
shit.
so bomb. Dude, that was so bomb, man.
We've had
and he
so
messaged
many
me,
great
too.
moments on this on the
Yeah.
live draft show. It is the best episode of the year. We'll be here Thursday night. We'll start 15 minutes before the draft. We'll be cycling people in and out. You can follow Cody at Cody Lack.
Yep. That's it.
At cat_chronicles. At Codizzle_Allen. And at BatDaddy52. Or is it the BatDaddy52? Check out the Super Civil Servants podcast, as well as the Cripple Connection and the C3 Dope as Fuck Beat Your Ass on Warzone. Wing